variant. So again, another reason why it's so important to be fully vaccinated.
3,668 COVID cases were recorded in SA yesterday and another 3 deaths. The US will return the Peace Corps to the Pacific and spend $900 million on economic development. It's part of the largest diplomatic push in the region since the Second World War. Vice President Kamala Harris will announce a Pacific-wide strategy when she speaks at the Pacific Islands Forum today. The decade-long financial impact on women when they have a baby is the subject of a new report. Zach De Silva reports.
In the first 3 years before childbirth, the wages of men and women move in a similar way. But 2 Treasury economists have found after a child is born, they rapidly split, and the mother's income drops by an average of 55%. Australian women pay a heavier price than those in other nations. In Denmark, the so-called motherhood penalty is 25%. In the US, it's 34%. Experts say men need to take a greater role in caring for children if we want to improve that figure.
The cost of a snag at a Bunnings sausage sizzle is increasing for the first time in 15 years due to the rising cost of living. It will jump by $1 to $3.50 from Saturday week as community groups struggle with inflation. NASA has unveiled more images taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. The photos show galaxies, a dying star, planets and nebulae. Operations Project scientist Jane Rigby says the speed the telescope works at is a game changer.
The previous record holder, right, the Hubble Extreme Deep Field, was 2 weeks of continuous work with Hubble, and it was just imaging. With Webb, we took that image before breakfast. The amazing thing about Webb is the speed at which we can churn out discoveries.
The US military says it's killed the leader of Islamic State in Syria. Mahal al-Galal was taken out after being targeted in the country's northwest. And the nominations for the 44th Annual Emmy Awards are out. Stranger Things, Better Call Saul, Severance, Squid Game and Ozark are in the running for Best Drama Series. South Australian Sarah Snook is up for Best Supporting Actress for Succession. Also flying the Aussie flag, Toni Collette for The Staircase and Murray Bartlett, who starred in The White Lotus. Only Murders in the Building, The Marvellous Mrs. Maisel and Pam and Tommy have picked up multiple nods. The Emmys will be held in Los Angeles in September. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
Yeah, and a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with footy, and Port Adelaide looks unlikely to play ruckman Scott Lycett in Sunday's crucial clash against Melbourne in Alice Springs. He pulled up sore after playing in the Sandful and looks set to be given another week before being recalled to the senior side. Meantime, Lee Adams has taken over the reins as interim coach at North Melbourne after the club parted ways with outgoing coach David Noble. Well, all is set for tonight's series-deciding Origin clash at Suncorp Stadium. A sellout crowd will be on hand to see whether Queensland will beat New South Wales with the series locked at 1-1. While Tom Dearden is expected to start at 5/8 in his Origin debut tonight, there is speculation he could move to the bench with Ben Hunt starting in the halves. Maroons coach Billy Slater is refusing to confirm his lineup.
He'll play 5/8 when he's out there. Just whether he starts or not, we'll make that decision closer to the game. But like I said, our players are very clear on their roles.
Melbourne Victory fans are celebrating after the official announcement of the signing of Manchester United great Nani. Meantime, Manchester United has given some encouragement to its fans after recording a 4-0 win in a friendly against Liverpool in Thailand overnight. Australian Nick Schultz has missed out on a stage win by just a matter of inches at the Tour de France, finishing second to Magnus Cort in stage 10. Tadej Pogacar holds on to the yellow jersey, but it's been cut his lead to just 11 seconds. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast, partly cloudy and 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 15 and the same again on Friday. Right now it's 6 degrees. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
Breakfast on FIVEaa. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
6:06, good morning to you. Welcome to a chilly Wednesday morning on FIVEaa Breakfast. We'll warm you up over the course of the next 3 hours. We've got Tim Lester in the US just before 7 o'clock. We'll head there for a couple of big stories. One of them relates close to home with the US intervention in the Pacific Island Forum and what they're planning to win back support in this part of the world for us and the United States. The other is the fires that are taking place in the Yosemite National Park. We'll talk to him about that. Then after 7 o'clock today, I know David's been looking forward to this. Brett Tilley from the Aldinga Hotel will join us, the winner of the Australian Hotel Association South Australian Pub Challenge for Best Burger. Best burger in South Australia. We'll get Brett to share some of his secrets. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor after 7:30 yesterday. Huge response to the discussion about these e-scooters in the city, and we spoke with a lady who'd been struck by one, driven by someone with no licence, what may have been a pinched credit card, didn't leave details, just the kind of person that's looking for trouble, basically. And we'll talk to her about that, the ramifications for it, and who's responsible when someone does the wrong thing after 7:30 today. We've got a stack of prizes to give away, including a Monado Safari Park family pass. We've got pasta deli vouchers to give away. We'll do that over the course of the morning, so pull up the doona, lie in bed and join us. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Pour yourself a nice piping hot mug of Horlicks. And, we'll try to nurse you through the next 3 hours. I've got to say, I got out to my car half an hour or so ago, and it was completely covered in dew. Like the entire windscreen. I got in, I was like, wow, you can't see a damn thing. It looked like someone had just been...
Had it frosted, or was it just...
Yeah, it frosted up.
Did you have
amazing.
I
didn't have to hack ice off the windscreen or anything. It wasn't like, living in Saskatchewan province or something, but it was... It's not a very Adelaide thing. Well, maybe it is. Maybe we just get amnesia.
It does happen.
Maybe we do
time
just forget how cold and indeed how hot it can get. We seem to marvel every year because it is a pretty extreme place, South Australia. Like we've got 4 seasons, 4 very clear, discernible seasons, and every year people go, oh crikey, Although we haven't said the last few years during La Nina with the mild summers that we've had. We haven't had a really hot summer for a few years now. But when we do have one, when it gets to 43, people are going to be going, oh, crikey, 43?
Has it ever been this hot?
Only about 10 million times.
They're going through a massive heat wave in Europe at the moment. We'll play some of the audio from some of the concerns. I mean, when we always kind of chuckle at it because they'll say it's 39 degrees and there's grave concerns for people's health. But they're about as prepared for that as we are for -10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we'll play a bit of audio because it is they are.
It's what you're used to, though, isn't it?
It's what you're used to. Absolutely.
I mean, if you're a Canadian, you'd wake up on a morning like today and go, might get some gardening done. It's a nice balmy day.
Well, I at Best of SA was speaking to a listener who's got family in Canada, and we were talking about she'd been out in days when it was -40. It was this unfathomably cold temperature, and said, "Oh yeah, I remember -20 when I went out in a t-shirt because you get used to it." I mean, no, you don't. You don't get used to that.
I was in Boston once in February.
Didn't go for long in a t-shirt, I should say.
Oh, crikey! I think the coldest I've ever been was in Boston years and years ago. Boston and New York, where there was snow like a metre high on the street, and they'd made tunnels to walk through the snow on the footpath. It was just unbelievable. But even a place like Queenstown in New Zealand, even though it's always sunny and you get the great crisp winter days when there's snow everywhere, but in the middle of the town it's actually quite warm. You can sort of prepare for it, but as a South Australian, it's still hard to wrap your head around it that people actually choose to live like that. You know what show I've become totally obsessed with? And I don't really obsess much about anything on television. Alone.
I've been telling you about this for a while.
Oh, how good is it?
It's fantastic.
The thing about,
anyone can watch this on SBS.
Yeah, it's an SBS show. So it's on free-to-air television. And if you use catch up, you can go back and you can find every season. I think there's like 10 seasons.
Yeah.
So the first 2 seasons are on this island in northern Canada,
Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island, yeah. And we're currently watching season 3, which is on Patagonia. So what they do is they get 10 people, and they all apply for it, and they all need to know.
They're survival experts.
Yeah, they're survival experts. But they dump them in the middle of nowhere with no backup crew. They can take 10 items, so they can't take any prepared food or anything like that. They get like a sleeping bag, but they don't get given a tent.
No, they usually pick a tarp.
Yeah, they get a tarp and some rope. So their three challenges really are shelter, warmth, and food and water. But they're in areas where there's like pumas, like at the moment in Patagonia, there's pumas and wild boars everywhere. You know, they're in their homemade tents at night, and they hear this and looking outside. But they have to film themselves, so they get 3 different cameras, so they can set one up on a tripod to do. The thing that's really good about the show, I was saying to Kate last night, it's really well paced. It's actually quite a relaxing show, and you just marvel at human ingenuity. How do people come up with these ideas? They're making traps to catch mice, and they're eating mice, and they work out that their body can actually survive for like 5 days on a trout. You know, if they catch one trout, they're going to be good for like the next 5 days.
But then they get to the point of making decisions like, should I walk to get that firewood because it's going to cost me couple of 100 calories.
Yeah.
And I don't have that at the moment. But if I have fish tomorrow, that'll get me enough to get firewood and make another trap. Like,
it's like watching cavemen thinking,
isn't
it?
It is. It is unbelievable.
But there's so many cool things about it, and like the way people behave differently. Like there's some people almost sort of withdraw into themselves, and it's all about energy conservation. But they seem to be the profile of the person who eventually cracks mentally and says, I just need to go home and see my family. But then there's others who do things like, there's a woman in the series I'm watching at the moment who decided that she was going to carve some bamboo to make herself some wind chimes to hang in her house. And the house that she made...
Hers, I remember that one. It's extraordinary.
She does paving. She gets all these big river rocks and then small pebbles and does this contrasted sort of paving. She's built a hearth inside her shelter that it looks like something out of Better Homes and Gardens. But one of the clinches, though, is the thing that'll get you the most isn't so much hunger but weather. And there's people who they're trying to catch a fish, they fall into the water, all their gear gets
and that's
wet,
it,
and they're just stuffed. They go, I'm going to die. I'm like 12 hours away from death.
Or people cut themselves and say, I might get an infection. I'm out.
Yeah.
And there's some bad moments with fish hooks and things too.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah. It's seriously, folks, if you haven't seen it,
great.
It's on free-to-air television. You don't need to stuff around with Netflix or Apple TV or any of that malarkey. Alone, and it's an excellent life-affirming program with none of the nonsense of reality TV where you have stars or favourites or people doing outrageous things, sledging each other. Like it's just, and they're out there for like 2 months.
Well,
I'm only up to season 3.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, it doesn't give anything away to say eventually there becomes challenges to say if you can last 100 days, you win $1 million. That type of stuff starts happening.
Really,
100 days.
100 days.
14, I don't want to give anything away though. 14 after 6. Got some news headlines for you next.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive Officer of Western Hospital at Henley Beach. Meeting the national safety and quality standards for healthcare settings is a requirement for all private hospitals. This is part of our commitment to you, instilling confidence in providing a quality of care you deserve. Choose a private hospital who is proud to show you their results against the national safety and quality standards. Western Hospital, your hospital that cares. Visit westernhospital.com.au.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. You won't find a better range of cars covering the entire region from Gawler to the Barossa Valley and Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip or well worth the click.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles. Our famous July Spend and Save is on now. Yes, our famous July Spend and Save is the best National Tiles event of the year. Spend $1,000 and we'll only charge you $750. Or spend $4,000 and we'll only charge you $2,750. The National Tiles July Spend and Save is not to be missed, but you'll have to be quick. For full details, go to nationaltiles.com.au now and save. Conditions apply.
When it comes to home insurance, APIA's Home Excess Free Glass option means you can have things like windows, shower and pool screens repaired or replaced without paying an excess.
The cat just broke the window.
And now it's free for 1 year with a new eligible FIVEaa home building insurance policy. So little accidents are a little less trouble. That's FIVEaa value for you. Call us today on 13 50 50. Offer ends 1st of August. Covers fixed glass only. T's and C's apply. FIVEaa is an authorised representative of the product issuer AAI Limited. Read the PDS and TMD. Call for copies.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
16 after 6 news headlines times. Oh, and by the way, Tom Wren's coming up in a moment. He's going to talk about what I think, in fact, is by a streak my favourite story in the world at the moment. So stick around for Tom Wren. It's not too far away. More options will come online today for South Aussies looking to get their 4th COVID jab. New pop-up vaccination clinic opens in the West Parklands. It offers the Pfizer jab and no appointments are needed. It comes as COVID case numbers continue to surge across the country. Health Minister Chris Picton is urging people not to be complacent.
COVID is continuing to evolve, unfortunately, and so the new variants that are taking over at the moment are BA4 and BA5, and that is meaning that, unfortunately, people who have had previous strains been infectious will still be able to test positive for these new strains.
Yada, yada, yada. So sick of hearing about it.
Yeah. I've got some dark thoughts, but I'm not going to share them.
Oh, no. What are they? Come on.
So when do we get off the carousel? If BA4 and 5 mean you can get it again 6 months after, you say you've got it. Say I had it 13 weeks ago. Theoretically, I can get it right now. So if there can be a mutation in the space of 6 months, why won't there be another one in 6 months and 6 months after that? And life becomes a perpetual cycle of getting COVID. You wanted me to share this thought, so you can be responsible for mopping it up.
Isn't it becoming more infectious and less deadly?
That's what they thought. But that's no guarantee. Like this most recent one affects the respiratory system more. So it hasn't followed the same trajectory as quite as strongly as we hoped. I don't think it's not exactly more deadly, but it's not quite falling away like we would have hoped. Anyway, I told you I didn't want to say it.
3%, only 3% of the people who are dying in hospital at the moment haven't had their 4th vaccination. So just keep getting vaccinated. That's the key.
Welfare payments are likely to rise significantly to try and keep pace with rising inflation. Pensioners and others could see one of the biggest increases to fortnightly payments when rates are indexed in September. A new world-first therapy has restored a Melbourne man's sense of touch 20 years after he suffered a stroke. The Herald Sun reports the Sense therapy can effectively rewire the brain in just 6 weeks, helping a patient's brain find alternative pathways. The program has been designed by La Trobe University researchers and helps to program the brain so that people can begin to again recognise textures. Amazing story.
That's incredible. I think when you think about the senses, sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, a lot of people go, if you had to lose one, you'd lose touch. But there's probably so many things that like underpin your whole being that stem from touch that you don't even realise.
You wouldn't think about.
No.
Anytime you want to pick something up or...
Yeah. I'm just sitting, as I'm saying that, I'm sitting here twirling my pen and writing notes to myself, and it would be... It was like when Michael Hutchins lost his sense of smell.
And taste.
Yeah, and then his taste went. And he became so crushingly depressed because eating became a chore. There was no joy in tasting a Caesar salad or a ham sandwich or a crisp new apple. Like everything just tasted like something that filled you up.
I remember seeing a documentary, one of the Farris brothers said that he would just start drinking bottles of, French wine and things that were for $500, but he just scull it like it was out of a bag. Yeah. He didn't taste it. It was almost like a statement, like, oh, well, I'll just throw this back now like it could be anything.
Like it's Angus Brut.
Like it's Angus Brut.
Like it's summer wine. Remember that one? With the screw top bottle? That was huge in the 70s, summer wine.
A cruise ship with more than 100 cases of COVID on board is now docking in Sydney. The majority of infections on the Coral Princess are among crew, not passengers. Passengers who wish to leave the ship will now need to show a negative rapid test. Oh, we can't be locking people up on a boat any longer, can we?
What, to get off the boat?
Yeah.
Oh, that's if you want to go wandering around.
Okay, so
Port
if you're
Villa or something
not to
like
get back to your home.
Yeah, presumably you're allowed to go to your house.
Yeah, okay, good.
Just not allowed off for a bit of a look-see when you when Captain Stubing pulls into the nearest port.
The head of the World Health Organization has warned that a new wave of coronavirus shows the pandemic is nowhere near over. Tedros Ghebreyesus has urged countries to push back against it.
I'm concerned that cases of COVID-19 continue to rise, putting further pressure on stretched health systems and health workers, and also concerned about the increasing trend of deaths. The virus remains a public health emergency of international concern.
The Prime Minister will take part in the first face-to-face Pacific Islands Forum meeting in 3 years. Anthony Albanese is travelling to Fiji for the conference, where climate change issues and dealing with COVID-19 will top the agenda, along with regional security. Yeah, we might just tack that next one on. Mr Albanese says he's there to listen and learn about the concerns facing Pacific leaders. The cost, I heard Mel Usher talking about this in 5AA News as well. The cost of a snag at a Bunnings sausage sizzle is going to jump by $1 to $3.50 from Saturday week.
$3.50?
Yeah. Community groups struggling with inflation. I didn't realise Bunnings set the price, to be honest. I thought the whatever sporting club or charity was running it did, but obviously they standardise it.
What is their margin, seriously? If you buy those very ordinary sausages, if you buy them in bulk,
yeah,
I reckon they would cost 10 cents each.
Probably.
Maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe 15 cents.
Remember, their margin is
they're barely worth it.
But remember, their margin is charities.
I know. It's a good gesture.
Like none of that goes to Bunnings.
No.
But yeah,
sign of the times, though, isn't it?
Certainly is. Certainly is. Tom,
what about the onion? Is that going to go up?
Well, I think it eventually has to, doesn't it? Or of onions, we sort of managed to freeze the cost of onions.
Actually, onions haven't gone up much.
No, I don't think they have.
In that category the other day we mentioned, along with bananas.
Know your onions.
Apples.
Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio. He's got details on what I think is the best story in the world right now. The new Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing, Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. And for those that are wondering what are we talking about, Will, this is a bit of a snapshot here. I'll throw to some audio right now.
It conned Russian gamblers into betting on the thrills of T20 cricket. The elaborate fraud was complete, with farm labourers pretending as cricketers who wore IPL jerseys in a farm in Mollipur village, which is outside one of the big cities.
So basically what's happening there is that's an Indian news channel. This was a racket that was happening in India. A story that broke yesterday. A group of farmers and unemployed young people have been busted for running a fake Indian Premier League and conning Russian punters into betting on it. Now, the group streamed the matches on YouTube. You can see video of the matches. They're pretty sort of...
I don't think anyone who's ever watched cricket in their life would go, I don't know what level this is.
Yeah, there were no wide shots, so there was just
it was locked off the pitch.
It was locked on the pitch, so you could just say, oh yeah, that guy got caught, even though it's gone for 6 or whatever.
So you wouldn't see, like, if you got caught at long on or something?
No. Wouldn't see any of that.
Pitch,
so the camera's only on the batsman.
Didn't look like Les had Burdett had produced the pitch either.
Yeah, they needed Les out there pretty quickly. They took turns wearing kits of the Chennai Super Kings, Mumbai Indians and Gujarat Titans, who are all teams in
So
the
they're real teams that they're mimicking?
The stream downloaded sound effects to make it more realistic. They even hired a commentator who sounded like the actual commentator. Somehow they got away with it for 2 weeks, despite the fake IPL happening 3 weeks after the real thing had finished. And they just ran it.
Apparently they had walkie-talkies where the umpires would tell the guys what to happen, what needs to happen.
So after they got the word of what the bets had been putting on, Russian gamblers placed bets on a Telegram channel set up by the gang, who then alerted the fake umpire using walkie-talkies. The police inspector told reporters the fake umpire would then signal the bowler and batsman to either hit a 6, a 4, or get out.
You can actually tell that it's a farm looking at the photographs of it as well. It looks like someone's about to, dredge a plough through covers and put in next season's potato crop. It's unbelievable. So, do we know how much money they made?
It doesn't say.
I can tell you what the players were paid. The players were paid 400 rupees, or about $5 a game.
$5 a game.
Wasn't much in it for the players.
So it's a bit like SANFL.
Wow.
That's extraordinary.
The video ready. Watching it is just priceless.
It's gold, isn't it?
Could you imagine the pressure, though, being you're out in the middle of the fake IPL, and the umpire gets a radio, and he says, you need to hit a 6. And you go, all right, I'm going to hit a 6. what happens if I don't hit a 6 for the Russian mob boss who's bet on this game right now? Like, how high pressure is suddenly the fake IPL?
How much do we owe this guy?
What was if I top edge this?
Yeah, or if I get clean bowled
If
and
I
miss
get
it.
clean bowled.
Yeah, how much trouble am I in there?
They didn't look in particularly good shape, some of them either, did they?
No, they it's pretty pedestrian sort of cricket.
So will they be charged?
Well, there have been 4 people that have been arrested in connection with that case, and the fake tournament actually reached the quarter-final stage, so I wonder who ended up winning.
They had a huge audience for the final based on how this is all played out. Now they've the global exposure.
I don't know if you boys have ever seen the movie The Sting, but it kind of reminds me of that, where they have the races that have already been run, and then they call them afterwards, and Lonergan, I think, is the one of the best movies, great movies of all time.
Interesting to note, too, we found the one event that goes on in the world that Rennie doesn't call. So maybe next year, Rennie.
Where was my call?
No, I think that's why the authorities tweaked to it not being authentic. Hang on, where's Rennie?
I wanted to know, Tom, did you have it in a multi?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if I was one of the suckers going, this bloody Indian Premier League, screw me over again. They're $1.06, they should have got there.
Look at that bloke, he looks like a farmer. What's he doing?
Ready? Tremendous work. See where the 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing, Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth. Stick around. We've got a Monado Safari Park family pass to give away right after 5AA News. It's as easy as you identifying an animal based on a little sound clip we play. Be the first to do it correctly. You'll get that family pass next.
If you need a window, and not just anything will do, just call Statesman Windows. Factory direct to you.
Nobody beats Statesman Windows, not on quality and certainly not on service. Windows, sliding doors, bifolds and more, made right here in Adelaide, factory direct to you. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows, states.com.au.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
If it pops, or if it twists, you'll find it at FIVEaa. If it comes in a can, or is best in a glass, you'll find it at FIVEaa. If you serve it on the rocks, or with a paper umbrella. In fact, whether it's wine, beer or spirits, whatever you fancy, you'll find it at FIVEaa. FIVEaa, your local independent SA family liquor stores.
Are you one of those people who lie awake at night worrying? Wouldn't it be great to calm your anxious thoughts and just drift away into blissful sleep? Well, then Caruso's Mind Ease could be just what you need.
Caruso's Mind Ease is a once-a-day capsule that contains lavender oil to help relieve the symptoms of mild anxiety, restlessness and excess nervous energy, promoting a deep sleep and supporting refreshing sleep in adults.
So if you'd like to worry less and to sleep more, try Caruso's Mind Ease today. Caruso's Mind Ease is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow directions for use. If symptoms persist, see your health professional.
Hello, geeks to you?
Yes, hello.
I may have lost some photos.
Well, let's go find them.
Yes! Yes!
Tech problems? For remote or on-site help, go to geeks2u.com.au or 1300 geeks2u.
20 years ago, Toyota set the standard for hybrid vehicles with the iconic Prius. Today, they're still leading the way with their Toyota hybrid technology for a cleaner, greener future for all Australians. Jarvis Toyota is Adelaide's home of hybrid. They can get you behind the wheel of your own small, medium or large sedan or SUV with best-in-class fuel economy. Work towards a better future together with Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, Adelaide's home of hybrid.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. physioextra.com.
More options will come online today for South Aussies looking to get their fourth COVID jab. A new pop-up vaccination clinic opens in the West Parklands. It offers the FIVEaa jab and no appointments are needed. It comes as COVID case numbers continue to surge across the country. Health Minister Chris Picton urging people not to be complacent.
COVID is continuing to evolve, unfortunately, and so the new variants that are taking over at the moment are BA4 and BA5, and that is meaning that, unfortunately, people who have had previous strains been infectious will still be able to test positive for these new strains.
The Prime Minister will join his Pacific counterparts in Fiji today as part of the first face-to-face gathering in 3 years. Lucy Gray has more.
Climate change, regional security and the COVID recovery will be the key items up for discussion at the Pacific Islands Forum. Anthony Albanese is travelling to the Fijian capital Suva for the meeting. Australia has previously been criticised for its ambivalent attitude to the region, but our relationship is changing as China flexes its financial muscle in a number of island states. The Prime Minister says his focus will be improving cooperation within the region.
The soaring cost of living is beginning to bite on the weekend sausage sizzle. The official cost of a snag at Bunnings will increase by $1 from Saturday week as community groups struggle with rising costs. A cruise ship with COVID-positive crew and passengers on board has docked in Sydney. Clinton Maynard is there.
The Coral Princess is the sister ship to the Ruby Princess, but compared to 2020, there are much stricter protocols in place at Circular Quay. She's sailed overnight up the coast from Eden. More than 100 crew and passengers are on board with COVID. The crew are not allowed off. Passengers who want to disembark must show a negative rapid test and they'll need to wear masks. New South Wales Health says it's impossible to prevent the spread because of incubation periods, but also notes that unlike the Ruby Princess when it docked in Sydney, the virus is now spreading anyway.
A US Capitol rioter says both extremists and ordinary Trump supporters were swept up in the madness on the day. A committee investigating the attack on the 6th of January has resumed hearings focusing on former President Donald Trump's refusal to accept the election results. Stephen Ayres says he fell for social media and false claims of a stolen election.
I was hanging on every word he was saying. Everything he was putting out, I was following it. I mean, if I was doing it, hundreds of thousands or millions of other people are doing it, or maybe even still doing it.
And a new Kit Kat flavour has been unveiled. The Milo Kit Kat will hit the shelves later this month. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide captain Tom Jonas says it's unlikely ruckman Scott Lycett will play in this weekend's season-defining clash against Melbourne in Alice Springs. Lycett has recovered from shoulder surgery and played in the SANFL with the Maggies on the weekend. But Jonas has told Channel 9 it's a big ask to put him into the senior side after only one game.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that Scooter plays. I think he's still got a bit of soreness. He had a reasonable stint out, even though he was able to run. It's about getting that contact in, and he's coming up against, probably the best 1-2 ruck combo in the competition.
Meantime, Lee Adams has taken over as interim coach of North Melbourne after the club and David Noble parted ways. The Roos say they're yet to speak with four-time premiership coach Alistair Clarkson to gauge if there's any interest in that vacant position. Well, Aussie tennis star Matt Ebden is back on home soil in WA after winning the Wimbledon doubles title with Max Purcell. Speaking from Perth Airport, Ebden has told Channel 9 the victory's still sinking in.
To join, such a long tradition and history of Aussies winning Wimbledon and to be a tiny piece of that.
The 10th stage of the Tour de France has been disrupted by half a dozen climate activists who tried to stop riders on the road. The protesters sat on the road about 35 kilometres from the finish line. Dane Magnus Cort ended up winning the stage, Aussie Nick Schultz finishing just inches behind him. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy 15 for your Wednesday, partly cloudy tomorrow 15, Friday partly cloudy again 15, and then showers and 16 on Saturday. Right now it's 6 degrees, more news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
25 to 7. Got a text on the Automasters text line a short time ago talking about it being cold from someone who was in Lake Louise, Canada at minus 36 degrees. Minus 36. I suspect we won't be able to beat that this morning. February 2018, Peter was there. It was cold. Skiing was fantastic. I hope you laid up, Peter, because
Peter sent us a screenshot of his iPhone weather app at the time, minus 36. The clincher is, though, that the apparent temperature was minus 46. I think when you get to that point...
Could you tell the difference?
Yeah. Or if it was more like minus 46.
Yeah, no, this is a real 46er.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we're at 46 are only in the other direction.
Yeah, maybe. And you can tell the difference between 46 and 36, so...
Oh, the remarkable thing about that 46-degree day, what was about 4 years ago, was that it felt hugely different from 43. It was extraordinary.
Yeah, it just breached a different
That killed
threshold.
my avocado tree. It's never recovered.
Where are avocado trees native to?
That's a good question. Oh, Mexico.
Doesn't it get to 46 in
No.
Mexico? Okay, more tropical.
More subtropical sort of heat.
We've got a family pass to Monado Safari Park to give away. The perfect school holiday destination. You can visit giraffes, lions, rhinos and more. MonadoSafari.com.au. You need to identify an animal. And I every single day come armed with clues to help people out. People have not needed them thus far, and it's absolutely amazed me. We're going to test how far we can push this today. This is not... All I'll say is this is not a lion.
Yesterday was the meerkat, wasn't it?
We had a meerkat yesterday and a rhino the day before. It's never taken more than 2 calls. Today's animal is this. All I'll say is...
leaked recording from an Adelaide City Council meeting.
Lord Mayor coming up after 7:30. The animal is an Australian animal, is what I'll say. 8223 what animal do you think that is?
A drop bear.
A Monado Safari Park. What's the origin of the drop bear legend?
I've got no idea, but I remember, I think one of my uncles was telling me about drop bears as a kid, and I believed it. I mean, it was about 5 at the time.
Yeah, it's a custom that you tell, foreigners or young people that there are drop bears, but I don't know. I wonder who started that. Someone's uncle. Jimmy in Salisbury, good morning. What animal is this?
Well, I have...
What do you think, Jimmy?
I had the last 2, but this one's harder. It's either a leopard. What do you think, Jimmy?
You only get one guess, mate.
Sorry, Jimmy, it's not a leopard, mate.
Sorry.
Let's go to Stephen Gould. You can't rattle off a couple, Jimmy. That's
right.
Let's get
Nice
the terms
try.
and conditions. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you reckon it is?
Tasmanian devil?
My goodness. Yeah, I don't know how this keeps happening. Steve, you've got it absolutely right.
Well done, Steve.
You're taking the family off to Monado Safari Park. What a great prize. What a great time of year to go and check it out too. Visit the giraffes, lions, rhinos and more. MonadoSafari.com.au. The streak continues.
That was a good guess. And if you think about it logically, what else could it be? What other Australian animal makes that sound? It sounded like an angry, vicious little
sounded
marsupial.
small and angry.
Yeah.
I think we've found the sweet spot for the 5AA breakfast audience. I think animal noises is the special category.
100%.
Can't be stumped.
Our listeners, they're like a sort of massed collection of David Attenboroughs. They know their animals.
That's all we can deduce from what we've seen so far. Great prize. More coming up as well this morning on 5AA breakfast. We're going to have fun with the Pasta Deli vouchers after 8 o'clock today. So stay listening to that because we do have a couple to give away.
Speaking of councillors, how's poor old Gillian Carboni going? Burnside councillor over this Instagram account that he's got where he sent an inappropriate message to a teenage girl, believed to be a teenager, about her bikini. And since then, probably with the help of some of his friends on the council, the advertisers established that he follows a whole bunch of other dodgy accounts for teenage models and what have you. And there seems to be a pattern with these stories. Poor old Mr. Carboni says he's been hacked. Well, every time this happens to people, they've been hacked. It's a real problem, hacking, isn't it?
And maybe this is my former life doing media management, but I reckon you've just got to decide whether you were hacked or maybe you mistakenly sent it to the wrong person or you were misinterpreted. Trying to be all three at once.
Yeah.
whether it's true or not,
he's got several strategies.
Damages your credibility. Okay, I'm not passing judgment. Just saying, as a media strategy, I wouldn't have gone for it's one of these three things.
There's a broader story too about how you live your life on social media, and like if you've soared to the dizzy heights of public service of making onto the Burnside Council, maybe you need to engage with people via several platforms. But it would have been a fun afternoon at the Ties yesterday, talking to the picture desk, where the editor would have said, "Hey, can we see if we've found any other pictures of Julian Carbone?" So they go to his Facebook page, and there's one of him crouching inside a Sulo bin. What? And you just go, that'll do. That's a good shot.
That's a good point you make, because at some point in history, being on the picture desk would have been an art form. Finding, sourcing material, having a library and an archive, it's so easy these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
People are taking embarrassing photos of themselves all the time.
Oh, and this is it. Like, people talk about the right to privacy. The biggest threat to privacy is individual behaviour.
Mm.
I mean, how often do you see people have, carked in some terrible accident or something like that, and, doing some sort of stupid drinking game or something, and it's like, oh, he died doing what he loved, and the last picture is something on Facebook of a bloke sort of, drinking tequila out of a laundry bucket or something like that, with texture drawings of genitalia on his chest, wearing a construction hat with two tinnies of VB on either side and tubes going into his mouth. It's like, picture tells a thousand words. But poor old Mr. Carbone.
Yes.
Burnside Council really is the benchmark, isn't it?
It's stunning how often you can tell someone a story and say, all right, there's something's happened to this council. Guess which one.
Yeah.
And they'll get it right.
Burnside's been punching above its weight for a long time.
There's still time. Join Samry's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samrybright.org.au.
Good morning, boys. At Cheltenham, lights on the flash at Torrens Road and Cheltenham Parade. At Eccleston, night works running late, Grand Junction Road near Bower Road. At South Brighton, from an earlier burst water main, speeds down to 40. That's Brighton Road near the Foodland. And in the city, asphalt works on East Terrace and Grenfell Street. That's at the Oban exit ramp. Cameras today at Delphi Terrace, Glenelg North and Osmond Terrace at Norwood. Audio C Coffee on the OTR app and enjoy freshly ground barista-made coffee. It's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
With fuel prices the way they are, it's now more important than ever for your car to be fuel efficient. Peak performance means peak efficiency, and that means Automasters. Book now for an Automasters Peak Performance Injector service. Petrol or diesel, your Automasters specialist will clean and service your fuel injection system to ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Get the best out of your car. Call 1300 Automasters. Peak performance guaranteed.
Hello, Geeks to You.
Yes, hello.
My printer has turned into a shredder.
Okay, let's fix it.
Oh, thanks.
Tech problems? For remote or on-site help, go to geeks2u.com.au or 1300 geeks2u.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
With fuel prices the way they are, fuel efficiency is more important than ever. And that means a peak performance injector service from Automasters. Ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Call 1300 Automasters.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
15 to 7. We're off to the US shortly. Tim Lester for 7 News will join us. Going to chat with the Bureau as well about what's coming weather-wise. I think we know the answer. But we'll find out in depth anyway with Simon Timke, who's on the line right now. Simon, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So what's coming up today weather-wise?
Yeah, look, another cold start this morning. We got down to 4.1 degrees shortly before 4 a.m. here in the city. Temperatures slowly starting to rise, but pretty cold about some of the suburbs still. Just 3 degrees at Parafield at the moment. Adelaide Airport 5, Mount Lofty 5 as well. Tiny bit warmer down south, no longer sitting on 8 degrees at the moment. There could be the odd little patch of fog around to start off with this morning as well. But then a partly cloudy day. Probably dry, I think, over most parts. Just a slight chance of a shower, maybe about the southern hills and suburbs there. Looking at the radar at the moment, there's a couple of light showers showing up just down to the east and southeast of Aldinga there, over the far sort of southern areas there. But I think for the Adelaide Plains, conditions should be dry today. Another cool day on the way, though. Maximum temperature 15 degrees in a southwesterly airstream today. Around the suburbs, 14 degrees the maximum for Noarlunga, Glenelg and Elizabeth. 13 degrees for Mount Barker. Another cold morning on the way for Thursday too, a minimum of 5 forecast for the city, and probably again like today, a little bit colder around some of the suburbs. Should be a dry day on Thursday, a little bit of cloud around, hopefully get some sunshine pushing through as well, though with generally light winds and 15 degrees the maximum for Thursday. Up to 15 again for Friday, partly cloudy day for Friday. Should be dry during the day, but a chance of a shower late Friday evening with the next change moving through. So the wind's turning around northerly on Friday, and then we'll see them tend around more westerly on Saturday as that change moves across, and that will bring showers, and the showers continuing into Sunday. So a bit of a wet weekend ahead, 16 degrees the maximum for Saturday, 15 degrees for Sunday, guys.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Sergeant Peter William from SAPOL joins us now. Peter, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, we're well. Got a question for you first, without notice, before we get to the policing matters of the day. There was a discussion yesterday we had about about e-scooters and whether you can be done drink driving on them. We resolved that. We got a text from someone shortly thereafter saying you can be done drink driving pushing a pram. Is there any truth to that?
Look, it's been a bit since I've done traffic policing, but I wouldn't suggest that would be something we would be looking into these days. We've got a few other things on our plate than people pushing prams intoxicated. However, I'd probably be more considering that person's ability to be a suitable parent at the time.
Yes. I mean, that is the bigger question, isn't it?
You'd have to be driving the pram pretty erratically to attract police attention, I think.
Well, I think the moment you went through a breatho, some questions will be raised.
Yeah, well, when they're pushing down the footpath and you decide to pull yourself into an RBT station, I think you're probably a bit too far on.
You can always get the baby to blow to the bag, I suppose. Hey, Peter, there was a pursuit overnight where arrests were made.
Yeah, that's right. So shortly after 11:30 last night, police responded to a premises at Rectory Walk in Springfield after unknown people had broken into a house and stolen keys belonging to a black BMW sedan before making off with that vehicle. Numerous patrols flooded the area to search for the vehicle, and shortly after 12:30, a patrol located the vehicle travelling south on South Road at Clovelly Park. Patrols kept observations of the vehicle until Polly was able to move in overhead and track it. The vehicle travelled through multiple metropolitan suburbs across the 4 policing districts for almost an hour and a half, with patrols spiking up on multiple occasions before it was finally abandoned by its driver and passenger on Goodwood Road at Millswood after the vehicle lost a tyre. The offenders ran from the vehicle, and Polly directed patrols quickly in to arrest 2 people in the front yard of a premise on Arundel Avenue. The alleged driver, a 22-year-old man from Grange, has been charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass, illegal use of motor vehicle, drive dangerous to escape pursuit and drive unlicensed. And the passenger, a 21-year-old man from Parafield Gardens, has been charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass, illegal use of a motor vehicle, theft, carry offensive weapon, and your favourite, David, possess article to commit offence. And neither man has applied for bail, and they'll both attend to Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
Good work, Peter. Fantastic. Thank you for that, mate. Oh, hang on, we've got one more, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got a drink driver out
Yeah, that's
north.
right. Sorry.
So
yeah.
this one's an interesting one. So, alleged just before 11 p.m. last night, a witness reported seeing a man driving erratically on Phillip Highway when his grey Mazda sedan had a flat tyre. He managed to stop the vehicle in a petrol station nearby to Main North Road, and he got out to try and start to fix the tyre when patrols moved in and spoke to him. he became quite aggressive, and when patrols were trying to do a breath test, so they have arrested him and taken him to the Elizabeth Police Station, where he returned a breath alcohol reading of 0.293. The 37-year-old Elizabeth East man was charged with exceeding prescribed concentration of alcohol into police and assaulting police. He was issued a 12-month instant loss of licence. His car was impounded for 28 days, and he's been bailed to appear at court in a later date. So 0.293 trying to change a car tyre, I wouldn't imagine that'd be easy.
No, degree of difficulty high.
Exactly.
Thank you, Peter. Sergeant Peter William from SAPOL. Got a text on the Automasters text line from Christine, who says it's 4 degrees currently at Coffin Bay. Christine, usually from Lobethal, but on holidays in Coffin Bay. Thanks for keeping us across what's happening there, Christine. Jeff says, fellas, I saw the fake IPL vision, and oh boy, I thought it was an ABC Sports production. I hope my taxes weren't paying for it. It looks so bad. It is worth your time to find it. The other thing that should have been a giveaway for, the Russians that were betting on it, I think the YouTube video, the viewer count never got above 200 or something.
Seriously?
Yeah. And the IPL
it's like
is
the most
fairly
watched
popular
sport in the world.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I mean there is. It doesn't have to be
by population.
It doesn't have to be very popular in India to get large numbers.
The most populous country on earth.
Let's head to the United States. Tim Lester for 7 News joins us. Tim, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So, Tim, what's this move towards a Peace Corps? Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's in a package of measures that the Office of the Vice President have confirmed as she prepares to address the Pacific Islands Forum. And it essentially is the United States putting some shape to what it will do to come into the Pacific alongside Australia in particular, but New Zealand and others, and try to counter the growing influence of China through Pacific Islands to win back the hearts and minds of the people there. The Vice President is talking about spending $900 million on fishing assistance over the next decade, appointing the first American envoy to the forum, the Pacific Islands Forum, helping with climate change as well, and various other initiatives to try to give the US a far greater sway in the Pacific, as it's dawned on it, the US and Australia over recent years, that the growing Chinese influence further south in the Pacific is becoming a real diplomatic problem.
We're playing catch up a bit in our neck of the woods. I should have let David do this story, Tim, because he's our resident flora expert, and I know the fires in the Yosemite National Park, so much of the efforts there was conserving these magnificent giant sequoias.
Yeah, gorgeous trees. I've been to see some of the sequoias in California, and they are awe-inspiring. They really are just gorgeous. And Yosemite, a wonderful national park east of San Francisco, has a grove of them called Mariposa Grove, and fire is bearing down on that grove. Fire has done great damage to the sequoia, the giant fat sequoia trees that exist only in this part of the world, in the mountain regions along it through California, and this is another threat to them inside one of the dual national parks of California and the United States. So firefighters doing all they can to stem the fire, though overnight it did appear that the fire had grown, not shrunk. So it is a big worry.
Certainly is. They are such majestic trees. Great stuff, Tim. Tim Lester from the 7 News US Bureau. If you've never seen a sequoia tree, get up to Belair National Park, because it was one of my favourite parts of the park, in the easternmost end of Belair. There's a whole row of sequoias that were planted 60 years ago, and it was to commemorate the war effort in World War II. So in the space of 60 years, these things, they are absolutely towering, and there'd be probably 40 of them, maybe a bit less, at least 15, but they're in a row. So you walk through this sort of tunnel of these trees, and the canopy on either side, because there's like 15 on one side, 15 on the other, 20 on one side, 20 on the other, with a gap of about probably 80 metres in the middle. And it's created its own little sort of ecosystem because the trees have grown into each other. And it's like this beautiful tunnel with all the pine needles on the ground and all the undergrowth, and there's moss and everything. But one of them fell down a few years ago. And it's just staggering because you can see its entire root system. And it's still lying there on its side. It's a beautiful part of the park, and it's got a very strong link to our history of service in Australia, because near it there's a thing called the RSL Walk. And this shows again like how long-lived these trees can be. Not sequoias, but there's all these Japanese cherry trees that were planted there to celebrate the victory of the Allies in World War One. So they were planted 1922, almost a century ago, and they're still alive.
Yeah, that's just amazing. There's some other news out of the United States that raised a couple of eyebrows. It wasn't the substance of a news report, it was more the style of it. So have a listen to a news anchor from CBS affiliate WRGB out of Albany and see if you can hear what's going wrong here.
105 degrees in Texas today. I just spoke with my mother. That's what she's dealing with. It's a major heat wave, and it is it's just heading everywhere. We're so lucky. It's only 80 degrees here. We are really lucky here in the capital region. I mean, let me tell you about that. These areas are reaching such areas. I mean, it's Houston, Austin, San Antonio. I mean, they're not expected. It has happened. Like, you don't need us telling you that it's bad.
Didn't sound like your usual, very professional, off the auto cue style news presentation. It sounded more like someone had come directly from lunch to present it, which may have been the case. Heather Kovar has been suspended after that was the 6 o'clock news. The 6 o'clock news, that was, we were just listening to. It's interesting, though, there's been blowback on the station, too, they've sacked a whole stack of people over the course of COVID.
Hasn't she done like an 80-hour week?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. She's gone from doing being all night on TV to all morning on TV to being all night on TV again. She snuck in a lunch or something in there somewhere. Admittedly.
She's had a bit of a Mike Willisy.
She's had a little bit of a
Do you remember that?
Yes. She's had a bit of a Mike Willisy.
That was such a massive national story. I reckon our listeners could remember that. Everyone was going, did you see Mike Willisy last night? We had that laughing fit.
I think she stood down now. But it's interesting the way the story's played out, because it started being, oh dear, is that this person can't be serious, to, well, hang on. This isn't clearly, in part at very least, an employer that's pushed someone too far. Interesting sign of the times sort of story.
She was drunk though, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, and look, now there's sort of reporting to inside sources that suggest she may have liked the odd tipple and come into work. Just never quite got to this stage.
Well, there's a historic first in the history of journalism.
Oh, I didn't know where that was going to go.
Never happened before.
All right, we're coming up to 7 o'clock. 5AA News on the way. Then we'll take you through some of the developing stories of the morning. It's not too far away.
Do you want to win the value of your car service back? Book your service online at North Point Toyota, and one lucky person per month has the chance to have the cost of their service paid back. Book your service online at North Point Toyota and you'll automatically be entered into the draw for your chance to have your service paid back. It's the North Point way. Hillcrest, Prospect, Port Augusta or northpointtoyota.com.au. Some T's and C's apply.
Are you struggling to get a good night's sleep? Do you lie awake worrying? Do you wake up exhausted? Caruso's Mind Ease to the rescue. Caruso's Mind Ease is a one-a-day capsule with lavender oil that relieves symptoms of mild anxiety, reduces restlessness and excess nervous energy, and supports deep, refreshing sleep in adults. So if you'd like to worry less and sleep more, try Caruso's Mind Ease today. It's available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Feeling the burn? Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys. Nescafe Gold Coffee 190 grams, only $9.99. Lynx and Rexona deodorants 100 to 150 grams, any two for $7. Finish Powerball 110 packs, regular or lemon, only $16.99. And Men's Assorted Violet Crumble and Crown Mince Confectionery, any two for just $6. Check out this week's catalogue for more hot buys in-store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys now.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
A car stolen from Springfield has been tracked for 90 minutes by police. The BMW was taken following a robbery on Rectory Walk around 11:30 last night. Sergeant Peter Williams says they spotted the car at Clovelly Park and then it clocked up the Ks.
Patrols kept observations of the vehicle until Polair was able to move in overhead and track it. The vehicle travelled through multiple metropolitan suburbs across the 4 policing districts for almost an hour and a half, with patrols spiking up on multiple occasions before it was finally abandoned by its driver and passenger on Goodwood Road at Millswood.
2 people were arrested nearby. The 22-year-old driver and 21-year-old passenger are facing numerous charges and will front court today. A new COVID vaccination clinic opens in Adelaide today to fast-track the rollout of the 4th jab. Over 30s are now eligible for the extra dose. The pop-up is located in the West Parklands and offers the Pfizer vaccine. It's open 7 days a week, 8:30 a.m. to 5, and bookings aren't required. Well, the country's cost of living crisis has hit the Bunnings sausage sizzle. Mia Glover has the story.
For the first time in 15 years, the price of a sausage and bread will rise by $1 from $2.50 to $3.50 at more than 300 Bunnings stores nationwide. The price hike will kick in on July 23. All funds raised go towards community groups. But the main reason for this is those same community groups say they've been seeing a decline in sales, so have asked for that price rise. The good news is the price of drinks, your canned lemonade and Coke, won't go up. They'll stay at $1.50.
Donald Trump's former White House counsel has told the January 6 inquiry the 2020 election was not stolen. Alison Petrowski reports from the United States.
Pat Cipollone says there was no evidence of widespread election fraud and applauded former Vice President Mike Pence for not aiding efforts to overturn the election.
I think the Vice President did the right thing. I think he did the courageous thing.
In the penultimate public hearing, Cipollone detailed a chaotic White House meeting in December of 2020, which descended into a screaming match between presidential aides and lawyers pushing fraud claims, calling for the federal government to seize state voting machines. The committee was told President Trump originally planned to lead a march of angry supporters to the Capitol on January 6, but wanted it to look like a spontaneous decision.
NASA has released the first full series of colour photos from the world's most powerful space telescope. Astrophysicists labelling the images from the James Webb Telescope as a giant leap for science. 3 Australians have picked up Emmy nominations. Sarah Snook from Succession, Toni Collette for The Staircase, and Murray Bartlett, who starred in The White Lotus. Only Murders in the Building on Disney Plus has 17 nods, including acting nominations for Steve Martin and Martin Short. Other shows in the running for a statue in September: Ozark, Squid Game, Better Call Saul, Severance, Hacks, and Ted Lasso. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide's players will train this morning as they look ahead to Saturday's clash against Collingwood at Adelaide Oval. Coach Matthew Nicks will have to decide whether to wield the axe after a disappointing match against Hawthorn. Well, tonight is the finale of the Rugby League State of Origin series between Queensland and New South Wales. The series is currently locked at 1 game each, the decider being played in Brisbane at Suncorp Stadium, but the Maroons have been ravaged by COVID. To soccer, Manchester United has delighted fans in Thailand, smashing bitter rivals Liverpool 4-0 in a friendly. The match was played in front of 50,000 fans, with the Red Devils opening up a 3-0 lead before half-time.
Fred with the dink. Oh, it's lovely. It's a super goal to make it 2-0.
Audio there thanks to Fox Sports. To cycling, Australian Nick Schultz has missed out on a stage win by a matter of centimetres at the Tour de France, finishing second to Magnus Cort in stage 10.
Schultz versus Cort. It's Nick versus Magnus. The finish line says... photo. Schultz crosses his fingers. Magnus Cort is the winner of the stage.
Yeah, but deflating that race call there on SBS. And in some basketball to finish, the Boomers have opened their Asia Cup campaign by defeating Jordan 78-60. Australia next faces Saudi Arabia on Tuesday. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
At Richmond, look out for a smash on South Road near St Donald Rabin Drive. Pennington, we've got lights on the flash Torrens Road near Addison Road, and also at Seaton, the lights are playing up Tapley's Hill Road near Trimmer Parade. South Brighton from LA versus Watermain speeds down to 40 k's Brighton Road near the Foodland, and in the city, asphalt works on East Terrace at Grenfell Street. That's at the Oban exit ramp. Look out for camera 2, Anzac Highway and the Parklands. Amazon Prime Day is live now. Start your 30-day free Amazon Prime trial today and enjoy 2 days of epic deals. $6.99 per month after 30 days. Cancel any time. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast, partly cloudy 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 15. The same again on Friday, then showers and 16 on Saturday. Right now it's 6 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
6 minutes after 7. I find this story on the front page of the Advertiser this morning quite extraordinary given what we're being told by the federal government, the World Health Organisation and our medical fraternity. So since January, seniors, disabled people and other concession card holders have been able to get up to 10 free rapid antigen tests every 3 months. So 10 every 12 weeks has got you pretty well covered for any time you suspect you might have a sniffle or you might have COVID. Well, no more. That's not happening anymore. The federal government yesterday revealed the subsidy would end on July 31. So that's all those people, concession card holders, pensioners, people with disabilities, would have to pay full-tote odds for rapid antigen tests. I just find that absolutely extraordinary.
Well, the great hypocrisy with it is that it comes as the Federal Health Minister, South Australia's own Mark Butler, was out there yesterday basically telling Australia that they've got to start taking the continuing and increasing COVID wave more seriously. And I was like, well, hang on a minute. And we've seen it with some of the chief medical officers around the country saying that businesses need to start urging their staff to work from home, that people should be more vigilant. There's discussions again about mandated mask wearing. Well, if we're under orders from the government or under advisement from the government to start taking it all more seriously, why would you pull the rug out from under people who can't afford to get rapid antigen tests?
Here is the Health Minister, Mark Butler, on 3AW yesterday.
The price has come down dramatically. They were running on average at sort of $24, $25 per test. True. If you could get them in January. They're now down to about $8 a test. Pensioners and concession card holders can still get their allocation of up to 10 tests before the end of this month, which should carry them through for a period of time. There are still free rats. There are so many rats in the community right now.
The fact that they've gone from $24 to just $8 a test,
Yep.
like, how out of touch is that? To suggest to people that you can, well, just stockpile as many as you can for the next month. Well, the next month takes us up to August. We're not going to be through this in a month's time.
Presumably there was some science behind
but
too.
Just on the cost of living, the key point there about the cost of living is to tell people with disabilities or people on the age pension that $8 a test is affordable. I mean, we're talking about, even something as emblematic as the Bunnings sausage sizzle, justifiably on account of inflation, having to put up the price of snags from $2.50 to $3.50. And that's defensible because it's all being done in the name of charity. But if that's a little pen picture of what the cost pressures are, the idea that put upon people with bugger all money can cough up $8 per test is absurd.
Well, presumably there was some science behind the idea that you'd need 10 every 3 months originally. So let's just say the government at some point assessed that that's a reasonable amount to get you covered through a period of 3 months. So that's now asking people to spend $80 a month, $80 for 12 weeks.
But they haven't thought this through. I mean, the end result is that if people who are worried that they're sick can't get their hands on a rapid antigen test because they can't afford it or they can't get access to it, where are they going to go? Emergency wards.
Yeah, I find it absolutely extraordinary, given all that's going on at the moment. There's a pretty extraordinary weather event that's taking place in Europe right now.
And wildfires have broken out in some areas of the UK as the heat wave continues. The country could reach the hottest temperature ever recorded on Sunday. Temperatures could hit something like 40 degrees, leading the Met Office to issue an amber weather warning for extreme heat. And it's an issue affecting mainland Europe as well. Temperatures in some parts of France are expected to reach around 39 degrees this week, increasing concerns that they could cause wildfires.
Lisbon in Portugal has forecast somewhere in the order of 45, 46. It's seriously hot there.
The idea of being 40 anywhere in England is pretty wild, isn't it?
40? Highest ever. So Sunday could be the highest ever temperature.
That's staggering.
It certainly is. Some news out of the United States, the world of entertainment as well. The Emmy nominations have just come through.
Thank you for joining us for the 2022 Emmy Awards nominations announcement. I'm always thrilled to be up nice and early for this announcement because it's the kickoff to the entertainment industry's absolute biggest night.
Mel Usher's been covering this magnificently in 5AA News, but if you missed it, Succession's earned the most nominations of any show, 25 nods, one for Outstanding Drama, Outstanding Lead Actor, nominations for both Brian Cox and Jeremy Strong, the father and son combination that are head-to-head in the show, both now head-to-head for an Emmy. South Australia's own, Adelaide's own, Sarah Snook, for her role as Shiv Roy, has been nominated as well.
Excellent.
She's just sensational in that program. Terrific Adelaide export.
Oh, yeah.
Shiv. Ted Lasso led the comedy category, getting 20 nominations. White Lotus, the favourite among the limited series category, with 20 nominations as well.
White Lotus was a great show.
Amazing.
It was really,
just
really
absolutely
good.
Brilliant.
Stifler's mum.
Yeah, Stifler's mum. Makes
For fans of... it was American Pie, wasn't it?
Hacks and Only Murders in the Building, which is fantastic. Martin Short and Steve Martin, Selena Gomez. That earned 17 nominations. And they were the big ones that came out. Awards ceremony on the 13th of September. And in local television news, we had a new, albeit a repeat, MasterChef winner.
I scored it. Ten.
That means Billy Mackay, you're the winner of MasterChef Australia 2022!
Winner of MasterChef, our mate Andy Allen there. He heard making the big announcement. Billy Mackay, winner of MasterChef.
She's a sensational cook. Very accomplished cook. That was great that night with Andy Allen the other night. Great catching up with all the
genuinely
all the listeners.
Lovely guy
down at Melt and Henley Beach. Beautiful spot.
Certainly was. Texts on the Automasters text line. Someone says, I work in a community pharmacy. We've got numerous customers getting their full allotment of 20 rats and not having used any of them. Just getting them because they're free and asking for more.
Yeah, I'm sure there is a bit of that.
Yeah, maybe the federal government has data that says there's the X number of million in the community, and that's why we're removing the subsidy. I just wonder, the cost-benefit analysis fascinates me, because maybe that is the case, but, geez, you'd rather too many than too few.
Yeah. Well, I just think it jars with their messaging. You know, on the same day they're telling us to take it all more seriously, it seems like they're not. One here from Frank saying, guys, what I find extraordinary is that our Prime Minister is leaving the country again for Fiji, and has Penny Wong been in the country since the election? Well, you can argue the toss about Albo, given the cost of living pressures at home, but I think that, and when you look at what the United States is doing overnight with the announcement that they're going to set up sort of peace corps and start helping out Pacific Island nations, clearly we're asleep at the wheel for a lot of the last decade. The Solomon Island deals that China has pulled off and eyeing others with countries like Vanuatu. Yeah, Frank, I think your point about Albo is there to be made, that he does have a big domestic agenda. But in the case of Penny Wong,
it's a kind of a job.
She's the foreign minister. Yeah. I mean, Alexander Downer made the same point when he was foreign minister. He had people saying, "Oh, you know, what do you do about the Mount Barker roundabout?" I was like, "Well, okay, yes, that's important, but currently I'm trying to fix the crisis in East Timor, because that's my job.
You'd have bigger concerns if the Foreign Minister was just holed up in an office in Canberra for 6 months.
That's
wouldn't
right.
You?
Yeah.
All right, it's 14 minutes after 7. Let us know your thoughts on the Automasters text line, 0480 8 13 95. You can call us 218 0000. Should mention the Lord Mayor is coming up after 7:30. We're going to talk to her about this e-scooter situation and the 3-year trial that's wrapping up fairly soon. But there's plenty of other things to talk about in the city at the moment, and we want your input on the chat we're going to have with the Lord Mayor. So if you've got a question for Sandy Verschaw, let us know, 8223 0000, or shoot us a text on the Automasters text line. Time for traffic. There's still time. Join Samry's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samrybright.org.au.
Thanks, Will. At Salisbury South, look out for a crash on Cross Keys Road at Kings Road. Richmond, another smash. South Road near Sir Donald Bradman Drive. Pretty slow going there at the moment. Pennington, you'll find lights on the flash. Torrens Road near Addison Road. And Seaton lights also playing up there. Tapley's Hill Road near Trimmer Parade. At South Brighton, from an early bus, Watermain speeds down to 40 k's Brighton Road near the Foodland. And we've got a camera at Robe Terrace, North Adelaide. Catch a bus to SA's fastest supercars race, the OTR Super Sprint, from popular locations for only $5 each way. Find out more at thebend.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
Alana at Port Adelaide, good morning.
The landlord decided to give me 30 days notice because he wanted to sell the house. So now I'm homeless with my cat, and I've just come from Services SA this morning, and they literally shrugged their shoulders and said they can't help me.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Just stay on the line, Alana. I've got Andrew on the line.
I might be able to help her. I've got a cottage in the Adelaide Hills.
That would be amazing.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance brands. Book a test drive at solitairemaserati.com.au. DL 65541.
Now, if you're fitting out a workshop, your shed or rooms around the home with extra storage, forget the flat pack and go Sharman Shelving all the way.
And here's the thing we all love about Sharman Shelving. It's all done for you. It's not flat packed. You're not going to sit there for hours trying to find the part marked A, read the little graphic. Is that C? I think it is. Where's B? I don't know where B is because it's missing.
And I've lost my Allen key. I'll tell you what, Sharman Shelving, at a time when, you know, the whole culture of flat packs and do it yourself and the little asterisk when you order a bit of furniture that says product requires some assembly. Well, nothing requires any assembly because the people at Sharman Shelving take your needs seriously. They'll come out, they'll give you a free measure and quote, they'll then deliver it, and if needed, they'll assemble it all for you.
Or if you want to assemble it yourself, you can do that too, and they'll give you all the support you need.
When it comes to storage solutions, everybody needs a little Sharman in their life. They're on 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, sharmanshelving.com.au, or take a look on Facebook.
When you're gone, who gets your vintage bottle top collection? The cricket bat you scored your first ton with? Or that precious family heirloom that's been handed down from generation to generation? If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, one thing is certain. You can trust Donlan Lawyers to help protect your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
90 minutes after 7. Stephen Rowe in just a moment. We'll hear some of his thoughts on the sacking of North Melbourne coach David Noble yesterday. We have an adage on this program that's as old as the show, and that is it's never too early to talk about food. And as such, our next guest, Brett Tilley, is the chef of Aldinga Hotel, who we're celebrating this morning for being crowned winner of the Australian Hotel Association SA Pub Challenge Best Burger. Brett, good morning to you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Brett, I've got to say, a big fan of your pub that's recently been remodeled, redeveloped, and it's absolutely superb, the job that the owners did there with that beautiful deck out the front there on the main street there in the old Aldinga town. But you got to tell us, you probably can't give too many of your secrets away. But what's the thing that makes your tucker so special, do you think?
Look, I focus on the quality of food. I make sure everything I use is of quality. You know, I make sure I source the best meats from the best companies around Adelaide. I make sure I use the best produce for my lettuce and my tomatoes. I use, good buns. It's not about a secret. It's about just being, just don't use average product. Make sure, you're not, if you're going to charge for a burger, then make sure the burger you're using is a good burger. Don't, substitute for something less.
Yeah.
That makes sense, I'm sick of going places where I eat something and they're charging something and I know they should be charging less because it's just not as good as it should be. So I make sure what I put out is good. Like I mince the meat in-house. I don't have the butchers mince it for me so I can make sure what is being put in the burger is good. I make sure everything's weighed properly. I make sure everything's seasoned correctly. I make sure everything's done correctly. Like it's just years of experience of making sure what I do is right.
How's the iceberg lettuce squeeze affected you, mate? I paid $10 for one last week. I've seen them on the shelves for more than that as well. You haven't been tempted to sneak a bit of cabbage into the buns?
No, not at all. Look, no. Look, this is an interesting topic when it comes to lettuce. I truly believe sometimes these big companies that are pushing the pressures on us should be breaking their margins a little bit and passing it on to the consumer.
Totally.
Something like a fresh product like that, you can't push the margin up too high because all will happen is that person trying to sell it will end up throwing it out anyway because no one will buy it at that price. So it doesn't stay that way for very long. I've seen it go up and down in the last 20 years being a chef. There's some things go up, some things go down. Like you ride the wave, and then in a month's time, this will be not a story again. So,
yeah. I don't know if you saw, there was a fantastic article yesterday on the Advertiser's website where they had all these aerial shots, mainly of southern suburbs like Seaford and so forth, but they had aerial shots of Aldinga from 10 years ago to today, and the growth down there in such a short space of time is just extraordinary. And I've got to say, I've been twice to your pub, and it was absolutely packed both times. It must be interesting working in an area I think its population's gone up by 56% in a decade.
Correct, that's right. Aldinga's really booming. Look, 10 years ago, Aldinga wasn't doing a lot, but we're doing fantastic at the pub. We've got a good market there. There's a real different breed of people. Like you've got your locals that you're obviously supporting, which is large, but then you've got your people just coming down to see those beaches or, sightseers and things like that. So you've still got sort of that touristy feel as well. So especially through the summer, just on a hot day, we just get absolutely packed out at the pub and everywhere around there from all the other local eateries and so forth. So that little stretch there is a really nice spot to come down. There's plenty of things to do. 4 minutes away and you're down at Port Willie, and then I spend most of my time down there in my off time. It's a beautiful thing.
I tell you what, too, the one other thing you guys deserve credit for at a time when we've got big supermarket chains that own a lot of pubs and have their own dodgy drive-throughs selling Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand and Hunter Valley Reds and things like that. I'd guess that about 1/3 of your bottle shop is totally dedicated to McLaren Vale wines, which is an excellent thing. Good on you, Brett. Yeah. You're a worthy winner, mate. Brett Tilley, the chef at the excellent Aldinga Hotel.
23 minutes after 7. A few texts before sport and the Automasters text line. This is an important one from Jane, who says, guys, even if they made the rat tests half price for us pensioners, but full price is a bit rich. People won't buy them at full price. They're too expensive. $24 without... they started at $8 without the concession that's going to end at the end of the month. This person, I think this is a reasonable idea, just a matter of how you'd implement it. How about instead of handing out the rats for free, have places where people can instead take the test there for free? That way only those who really need them will use them. Thank you for that. Work. And at Pro of Nothing, Rob says, guys, I ordered a German meal from Uber Eats. The sauerkraut has arrived, but the worst is yet to come. Thank you, Rob. Speaking of food, Richard in Shido Park ate at Aldinga Hotel. Morning, Richard.
Good morning. How are you going, guys? Good. Yeah, I had a party, a group of 10 people on Sunday, and I saw the burger on their servery going to another customer, and I said, no, I'm going to have that. So I changed my mind for what I was going to have. Had the burger, so wrapped with it. It was excellent, it was beautiful, and we've been eating there a couple of times, and the food has always been excellent there. So I'm hoping to say that to the chef or the owner of the hotel.
I'm sure he's still listening, Richard, and good on you, mate. So he's won the award. He's got Richard's approval. That's fantastic stuff. Good on you.
It's all happening in the south.
It's all happening. 25 minutes after 7. Let's talk sport now. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Rowie was chatting with North Melbourne legend Corey McKernan about the club's decision to part ways with David Noble.
Seems like things really escalated over the last few days, and yeah, pretty disappointing for everyone. I know that there's a review on at the moment, but I suppose back to the drawing board for the Kangaroos once again.
From where you sit and understand, was it the right call? Was it, I guess, the only call, Corey?
Oh, look, I think the body of work, that's the only thing that's really dictated that's led us to where we've ended up today. And as you read out that record at the start, as much as we love effort and we love teams progressing, all the things that are cliched in football, but unfortunately wins and losses seem like they really dictate football nowadays. Oh, well, they are most of the time anyway. And that was always going to make it hard for David Noble in terms of holding his job, and especially going through a rebuild. And my great mate David King, I've probably quoted him a few times today, but I know King had mentioned it's very rare. It seems like the original rebuild coach at the start, it's very rare that they get to see the body of work at the end. And unfortunately, David's no longer with the Kangaroos anymore.
Which is true. But I don't think, too, it's particularly commonplace that the coach who starts the rebuild only sees it through 38 games.
No.
I mean, that's extraordinary, and it speaks to something more broken within the club.
Oh, for sure. But you think about all those big names like the late 90s, like McKernan and Archer and Carey and Stevens. Like, that club was such a sort of...
It's a powerhouse.
It was. They should have won more flags. I mean, they should have won in 98.
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't. It's still one of the great mysteries of life. Not regretting it at all. It was a terrific win for Adelaide, but crikey,
they were a great side.
They blew that one. But yeah, geez, nothing good has come out of Arden Street for a very long time.
27 minutes after 7, 8223 is our name. You can shoot us a text on the Automasters text line as well, and you can do the same for Stephen Rowe for the sports show tonight. Check it out. Tonight is Wednesday night. It will be a big night on the sports show. Lots to talk about. British Open too coming up. I know Tommy Wren at the moment has got a British Open preview that's going to blow the doors off the joint for you tomorrow morning, so make sure you're listening to that, and no doubt it'll be a topic on the sports show as well. Book your service online, North Point Toyota, to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Nice to see some questions coming through to the Lord Mayor as well, Sandy Verschaw, who's going to be joining us on 5AA Breakfast in just a moment. As with all our guests, if you'd like to chat with them, ask a question, or get us to do it for you, we're more than happy to do so. Text or call, and you can be part of that conversation and any conversation over the course of the morning.
G'day, Tom Wren here. Greyhounds love to run, and Greyhound fans love Thursday nights at Angle Park. For top greyhound racing, a great family atmosphere and the amazing food, Chase's Restaurant is offering a full a la carte menu to ensure you have a fantastic night out. Chips, wedges, through to classics like burgers, fish and chips, schnitties and steaks. Yum! Grab the whole family and get to the park to watch those dogs go. Every Thursday night at Angle Park Greyhounds.
Good pals are hard to find, but at Parafield Airport Liquor Store, hard to find is our specialty. Whether you're after old reliable pals or want some new pals, Sam, Jamie and the team know just the pals for you. They've made pals with over 200 gins, over 300 craft beers, over 500 whiskies from around the world, and over 2,000 wines. Parafield Airport Liquor Store, Pals, open till late 7 days, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Now, are you one of those people who lie awake at night worrying about everything? Wouldn't it be great to just calm your anxious thoughts and drift away to blissful sleep? Well, Caruso's Mind Ease could be just what you need.
Caruso's Mind Ease is a once-a-day capsule that contains lavender oil to help relieve the symptoms of mild anxiety, restlessness and excess nervous energy, promoting a deep sleep and supporting refreshing sleep in adults.
So if you'd like to worry less and sleep more, try Caruso's Mind Ease today. Caruso's Mind Ease is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label, follow the directions for use, and if symptoms persist, see your health professional.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens. Yes, they're coming. And they're available at amazing prices. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
There was a lengthy police chase overnight. A BMW stolen following a house break-in at Springfield was tracked for 90 minutes. After multiple attempts to spike the tyres, the car was abandoned at Millswood. Sergeant Peter Williams says the pair in the car were arrested nearby.
The alleged driver, a 22-year-old man from Grange, has been charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass, illegal use of motor vehicle, drive dangerous to escape pursuit and drive unlicensed. And the passenger, a 21-year-old man from Parafield Gardens, has been charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass, illegal use of a motor vehicle, theft, carry offensive weapon, possess article to commit offence.
They'll front court today. A new COVID pop-up vaccination clinic will open in the West Parklands this morning. The clinic will offer the FIVEaa vaccine, including the winter dose. No bookings are required. Chief Health Officer Professor Nicola Spurrier is encouraging people to get the jab.
We know that there is what's called immune escape, and for whatever reason, people who have had BA1 or BA2, it hasn't really boosted their immunity to this new subvariant. So again, another reason why it's so important to be fully vaccinated.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is preparing to take part in the first face-to-face Pacific Islands Forum meeting in 3 years. The United States Vice President will address leaders as the US launches its largest diplomatic push in the region in decades. The Peace Corps will return to the region while $900 million will be spent on economic development. Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong says all nations need to work together.
We want a region that's peaceful, that's prosperous, that's stable, but where sovereignty is respected. And what that does require is engagement from a number of powers, a number of countries, and it requires a focus on development of the Pacific.
Deakin University has fallen victim to a cyber attack. The details of around 47,000 past and present students have been stolen in an IT breach. The hacker using the information to send a scam SMS to almost 10,000 students that looked like it had been sent from the university. The cost of a snag at a Bunnings sausage sizzle is increasing for the first time in 15 years due to the rising cost of living. It will jump by $1 to $3.50 from Saturday week as community groups struggle with inflation. And the Emmy nominations have been announced and 3 Aussies have been recognised. Adelaide's own Sarah Snook for Succession, Tony Collette in The Staircase and Murray Bartlett as the resort manager in The White Lotus. There are also acting nods for Steve Martin and Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building and Jodie Comer, who played Villanelle in Killing Eve. Even Barack Obama is in the running for a statue for narrating a series about America's national parks. The 44th annual Emmys will be handed out on September 12. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you for that, Mel. Former Melbourne CEO Peter Jackson says AFL clubs and not the AFL itself will decide if a Tasmanian club is a goer. Jackson is currently offering some advice to a potential bid to get another team in the Northern Territory. He says the league needs to win over the clubs.
The AFL clubs won't buy it unless they know they're no worse off. In fact, hopefully them and the whole of the competition is better off. So that's where it rests in my view.
Meantime, GWS interim coach Mark McVeigh is throwing his hand up for the vacant coaching role at North Melbourne. Well, South Aussie Lucy Austin has earned her first Suncorp Super Netball contract after signing a contract for next season with the Adelaide Thunderbirds. The 20-year-old has been a training partner for the past 2 years and impressed with 3 games last season, including her debut against the Melbourne Vixens in round 6. To golf, former world number 1 Tiger Woods has taken aim at Greg Norman over his breakaway Live Golf Tour, which has been financially funded by Saudi backers. Woods is in Scotland preparing for tomorrow's British Open major and was asked about the tour, which has had several top players defect to it.
I know Greg tried to do this, back in the early 90s. It didn't work then, and he's trying to make it work now. And I still don't see how that's in the best interest of the game. What the European Tour and what the PGA Tour stands for and what they've done, I think they see it differently than what Greg sees it.
11 Aussies, including Cam Smith, Adam Scott and Mark Leishman, will be playing at this year's Open Championship starting tomorrow afternoon our time in Scotland. Can't wait for that one, Mel. That is the 5AA Sport.
You love your golf. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
At Elizabeth, multi-car smash at Main North Road and Elizabeth Way. Salisbury South, another collision there, Cross Keys Road at Kings Road. At Pennington, lights on the flash at Torrens Road near Addison Road, and Seaton, lights also playing up there, Tapley's Hill Road near Trimmer Parade. At South Brighton, from an earlier burst water main, speeds down to 40 there, that's Brighton Road near the Foodland, and we've got a camera at Anzac Highway in the Parklands. Amazon Prime Day's live now. Start your 30-day free Amazon Prime trial today and enjoy 2 days of epic deals. $6.99 per month after 30 days. Cancel any time. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, 15 today, partly cloudy, the same tomorrow and Friday with showers and 16 on Saturday. Right now it's 6 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
Sitting in a small cafe now, swinging to the cabaret. Wanna see a movie, taking a show now.
24 minutes to 8. John Blake coming up before 8 o'clock. We're going to talk more about the end of the free rat test for pensioners, veterans and others, concession card holders, by the end of the month. We'll do that after 8 o'clock today. Particularly intrigued with regard to this from the perspective of those that can least afford it, namely pensioners. So we'll get a perspective on that for you before 8:30. Then after 8:30, there's an opportunity for anyone listening who has the same name as someone well-known or famous to win a prize today.
Oh, cool.
So if you've got the same name or close enough that it's been mistaken, or one where you say your name and you know what's coming next, a joke or some sort of innuendo, you can win yourself a prize today if you tell us what it is. We're going to do that competition after 8:30.
I reckon one of our listeners would be called Scott Morrison.
Every chance.
That's a hugely common name.
There's got to be lots of Scott Morrisons.
If your name's Scott Morrison, give us a ring.
Yep. We've got prizes galore to give away.
Not the real one.
No. Well, I mean...
he's allowed to ring.
I don't know if you are the person... I'm not sure you're eligible if you are the person that was once famous for the comp.
A mate of mine once was in a pub and he looked at this woman who just walked in and was sitting next to him, and he looked at her and he said, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but has anyone ever told you look a lot like Jamie Lee Curtis? And she said, that's because I am Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis walked in and was local.
That's remarkable. How about that? Someone who looks awfully like the Lord Mayor of Adelaide has walked into the studio. I think it is her. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschaw, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
I don't think there'd be too many other Sandy Verschaws around. It's a pretty unique surname you've got.
Well, no, it's not actually.
Isn't it?
I did a search. I was actually searching for something else. And
you weren't Googling yourself, were you?
No. I was actually trying to find my sister. I know that sounds weird. I found her. But I was sort of like, there were a whole lot of, Sandra Verschaws out there.
Yeah, right.
Which blew me away.
Is it German?
No, it's Dutch.
Dutch.
There's two Verschaw families in South Australia. And we found that out years ago because there was a death notice for an Oma, which is the word for grandma.
Grandma, yeah.
Oma Verschaw, and we all thought, somebody's playing a terrible trick on us because our Oma wasn't dead. And then we found out there's another. And I actually there's a guy called Ross Verschaw, and who everybody always used to say to me, are you related to Ross? And to him, so we went and had coffee one day, just had a catch up. Yeah, so we're probably related, going back a little bit.
How recently did your forebears come to Australia?
They came through Dad and Mum both came out in the 50s, and my grandparents came out in the 60s.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of Dutch immigration to South Australia.
Yeah, it was economic immigration. It was economic migration post-war. So, as a lot of the families that came to South Australia. So, yeah, and built business and brought the family over and did all that sort of stuff.
Became the Lord Mayor in the process.
Well, that wasn't me. But,
the family did. You've got one Lord Mayor in the family.
Yeah.
We spoke yesterday on the program about a story. In fact, we spoke with someone who'd been the victim of it. They were hit by an e-scooter in the city.
Yeah.
And look, and I think it needs to be mentioned in the context of this conversation. The person who hit them couldn't have been doing anything more wrong. They weren't wearing a helmet. They were smoking a cigarette at the time. They'd used a credit card that wasn't theirs to procure it. They didn't really stop and offer assistance. Look, this wasn't someone who was a well-functioning member of society, clearly. But we got a lot of feedback from people saying, what's going on? In fact, we got a text here on the Automotive text line from someone who said, can you ask the Lord Mayor, if I was to leave my ladder and tools, etc., on the footpath with no signage or bunting, I'd be in trouble, yet these people just leave the scooters lying all over the place. What would you say to people who in the first instance, their concern with the scooters is they're just littered everywhere?
Yeah, so first of all, I do acknowledge that Diana, she came and did a deputation. We heard her story firsthand, and she's had an awful experience, and that is not something we want to repeat. So there is several responsibilities here. So there is a policing responsibility, which actually falls to SAPOL. So they have a role to play in terms of, you know, people using the scooters legally, and then there is obviously the scooters on the footpath. So we've been doing a trial, which is so that you have to QR code to switch off the charging system on the scooter, and we've done them on Grenfell Curry, which have worked quite well. So we're just finishing the trial on that. So you had to sort of park in a parking bay, and we think the first thing that we can do is try and actually make their dedicated parking bays where if you don't actually log off in that parking bay, you have to use the QR code, then you keep being charged while the scooter's going. The other thing that I've done is written to the Minister for Transport Infrastructure, so Coots and Tonus, to ask that, because it's a state legislation, to ask that the state consider that they are able to ride in the bike lanes rather than on the footpaths.
That would seem to make more sense, because we did get a lot of anecdotal stuff yesterday from people saying that another lady said she was bumped into one going to Her Majesty's Theatre on Friday night. A couple of other people said they'd had close calls. Yeah. That would make more sense.
So is the law at the moment you're not even legally allowed to do that, even if you wanted to?
Correct. So the law at the moment is that you ride them on the footpaths, and personally I think they should be ridden on the roads. Basically they're a form of transport, just like a bicycle. And so we have bike lanes all through the city, and that they should be either written on the roads or the bike lanes. And so that one's sitting with the Minister at the moment. And it's also that thing of, people taking personal responsibility. Of course, you are supposed to wear a helmet, and you aren't supposed to use them if you've been drinking or while you're on your phone or doing something else. The same as if you were riding a bicycle or driving a car. Those modes of transport, you need to pay attention to what you're doing. And, quite frankly, if people don't start taking some responsibility, then the trial may end, because we're sort of on a trial, and the evaluation we finish in October, I think, after which we'll decide if we continue to have
so you're not
scooters.
wedded to the concept?
No, well, look, I think we should have the options. I think they're a great addition to the way that people move, and particularly for young people, they've been really enjoying it. But we actually need to go through that process and make sure that it works for everybody. It has to work for everybody. You can't just, keep knocking people over or doing things like that. That's not something that we want to see happen.
Can I ask you a question about COVID, Lord Mayor? Because obviously for much of the last 2 years, there's been times where the city's resembled a ghost town. You've been mad keen as Lord Mayor, and you've been in charge during this entire difficult period to get people back into the city. Are you worried now, hearing these sort of calls from chief health officers and some people in politics saying, well, maybe we're at a point where businesses need to start telling everybody to work from home again? Are you? Because there'd be so many cafes and restaurants in town, and probably also a lot of the more tourist-oriented institutions, like the thinking like out loud, like the museum, would have had a drop in patronage over the last 2 years. Does it concern you that we're at a point where there are calls to hibernate yet again?
Yeah, I have been monitoring it, not just here but around Australia and around the world, just to see what's happening. It does concern me, because I feel like the city's only just coming back to itself, and that it affected so many businesses, and I can't even think of one that it didn't. And those businesses that continued to trade really well, of course, most of that was online. as opposed to in person. So, people have come back to work. You can feel people feel happier. There's a lot going on in the city and people going out and enjoying themselves. So I'm not sure that they'll do an emergency declaration like they did last time, so it may not be mandatory. At the moment there's a lot of flu around, which somebody is out, like, do they have a flu, do they have cold, or do they have COVID? So there's sort of, people are still, you should get tested and all that sort of stuff, and stay home if you're sick. So I think that. And the other thing is that everybody relaxed their regime in terms of, if you're on public transport, I still wear a face mask if I get on public transport or if I'm in crowded areas, and, using hand hygiene and things like that. All of those things, the flu dropped almost out of existence when all that was happening. So I think it's just a matter of people just being mindful. But, I always say to any of my guys, if you're not well, don't come to work. Nobody else wants to get sick. So
it's kind of hard to get a sense beyond walking around anecdotally and seeing what the sort of return to the city and the patronage of cafes and things are. You can get a sense of it, but you don't have hard numbers. You do, though, I'm guessing, when it comes to things like Illuminate Festival and things like... Are we back, in inverted commas, in terms of the way in which people go out to big events like that yet in Adelaide, or is it sort of too hard to tell?
No, we've actually done exceptionally well the whole year with all of our festivals. Illuminate, I think the joy about that is so much of it is outdoors, so people can actually move from one end of the city to the other, and even the big show in Botanic Gardens, all of those things, the one in Victoria Square that's up base camp. So, and people are going and really enjoying themselves, and of course, different things are kicking off at different times, but it is a matter of the fact that it is entirely better to be outdoors than it is indoors, which is why we did so much work in terms of outdoor dining and allowing businesses to spill onto the streets.
And just to report back a little bit of intel for you, Lord Mayor, as well, I went to the Melbourne Botanic Gardens version of what we have as part of Illuminate here. It was rubbish. Ours is significantly better.
Well, it is an amazing festival. I hope people realise how lucky we are.
It's actually artwork. Yeah. What happens in our Botanic Gardens is it like an art installation? Oh,
it's the one in the Botanic Gardens is sensational, and I'm looking forward. I'm going to see Ouch, which is the one that's in Rundle Street. I can't wait to see that. I think that's going to be quite extraordinary. The artists are amazing, and so
Have you been to the one at the zoo yet? Light Creatures?
I went to that last year,
so
I haven't been back to it this year. But
we went Sunday night, and there were so many people. Yeah, but it was, as you say, it was all outside. Everyone was rugged up. It was good. A lot of families there. It was a nice night.
Yeah, and I'm trying to go for a skate in Victoria Square, but I think I'll land badly.
Not on those silly tiles that your predecessors installed, I hope. Is that what you're referring to?
No. I'm talking about things. So we won't go there. Come on.
There is Stephen Young.
We actually also approved the artwork for Illuminate last night, which is going to be extraordinary. Sort of the working title is Eye of Adelaide, and it's going to be this incredible artwork that will be in Light Square. So every year we have Illuminate. Part of what we do is we commission a permanent piece of public art, so that at the end, of 3 or 4 years, you're going to have these amazing pieces of public art all around the city. So this is the next one that's going up in Light Square.
Good stuff. Good to have you in, Lord Mayor.
Good to see you, Lord Mayor. Thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
All right, let's check traffic. There's still time to join Samari's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samaribright.org.au.
Thanks, Will. At Elizabeth, we've got a multi-car smash on Main North Road at Elizabeth Way. Salisbury South, another crash, Cross Keys Road at Kings Road. At Pennington, lights on the flash at Torrens Road near Addison Road, and Seaton, lights also playing up on Tapleys Hill Road near Trimmer Parade. South Brighton, from an early burst water main, speeds down to 40, that's Brighton Road near the Foodland, and got a camera at Bagot Avenue at Cowandilla. GWM Ute is a game changer. Strength, space, luxury, plus a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. Take a test drive and be impressed. GWM, go with more. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Great news for people on the move. Budget Car and Truck Rental have a new location just north of the city at 354 North East Road, Clemzig. Open 7 days a week. So, if you're moving out or in, taking a load to the tip, or going on a big trip, you can do it all with Budget Car and Truck Rental. 7 metro locations, including their new site at Clemzig. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Hi
honey.
Hey, Mum. I'm just waiting at the emergency department.
Are you okay? What happened?
I twisted my ankle at training.
And you're at the ED.
Where else would I go?
Try icing it, love. Or I could take you to the GP or a pharmacy.
That's gone all over you. Let me wipe it up.
All good. Yeah. Mum, come and get me.
Is it really an emergency? Before visiting an emergency department or calling 000, call Health Direct on 1800 022 222 to find the best healthcare option for you. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Between interest rates and electricity prices, rent and bills are through the roof.
That's right, and electricity bills enough to put anyone on edge, but good news for renters, if you're feeling the pinch, EcoVantage might be able to help.
That's right. If your rent is below $400 per week, your home might qualify for a free EcoVantage heat pump changeover thanks to federal and state government incentives.
That's right. Hot water can show up about 40% of your electricity bill, but a heat pump can bring that right down. They're up to 80% more efficient than traditional hot water systems.
So if you ask your landlord to request an EcoVantage heat pump upgrade, it means you get to save hundreds on your power bills and your landlord gets a free hot water service. Win-win.
It certainly is. So chat to your landlord or your agent and ask for EcoVantage today. Visit ecovantage.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options, Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
9 minutes to 8, John Blake coming up in just a moment. After 8 o'clock today, we will be giving away a host of past deli vouchers. If you've got the same name as someone famous, you might be able to win one. There's a fascinating documentary we'll play a little bit of after 8:30 today that provides a little bit of a backbone to this. Also, we are going to talk more about the end of free rapid antigen tests for concession card holders, seniors, people with a disability and so forth. This ends at the end of the month. The government's sort of saying, well, we'll stock up. Well, I don't know. You've got an idea of how long COVID's going to be around for that you need to stock up for. You're doing better than I am. But we'll talk more about it after 8 o'clock today. James in St. Peters has called in. Morning to you, James.
Morning. How are you going?
Good, thanks, mate.
I was listening to the interview with the mayor this morning. I thought you went fairly easy on her. I heard Diana's interview yesterday. She got hit by a scooter travelling at high speed, and the only solution that the mayor offered this morning was, let's park them in a particular spot. So I really thought you could have gone.
I think she said her solution was that they shouldn't be on footpaths.
Oh, well, she said she's written to the state minister and said they should go to the footpath. Should go to the bike lanes. But practically speaking, if that law doesn't get passed, and until that law gets passed, then basically she's willing to have scooters travelling at high speed, hitting anyone they want, so long as they park in a particular spot on 2 streets in the city. That doesn't sound like a solution to me. That sounds like basically Adelaide Council still sitting there going, well, we're not going to worry about slowing them down.
She also made the point
we're getting soft in our old age, James.
she also made the point, James, that if it continues as it is, they're not going to continue. I mean, she literally said there's a chance they just cancel this whole thing altogether.
But that'd be October, right, when the trial ends?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So November there's some council elections as a whole new council comes in. How's she going to do that if potentially she's not even there? How would the council do that?
Well, she's running.
Well, then it wouldn't have mattered what she said today, if that's the parameter. Thank you, James. Let's go to Port Noarlunga. Steve, good morning.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Good, thanks, mate.
I didn't hear everything that the Lord Mayor said, but just the opening line about well, you know, there's the only powers to actually do anything with SAPOL. Don't I keep reading, and I was in SAPOL for 40 years, and haven't I been reading just lately that they're a little bit stuffed for numbers. One of the things I heard the other guy saying is slow the bloody things down.
Yeah.
And I just wonder too. Obviously, 99% would actually be used with someone whose credit card actually belongs to them. Perhaps if when they finish with them, they're not sitting upright, or there's some way they can detect that they're just dumped. You know, they're just dumped on their side, which is the biggest problem. Maybe an extra $5 goes on, or like they do in shopping centres, do they need to pay somebody to actually, you know, just walk around and make sure they're not causing a big obstruction. Don't try and blame everybody else or let it be everybody else's problem. Maybe it should actually be the people who are running it. They should factor in some additional cost to actually police it themselves about the hazards they cause.
Yeah, I agree with that. Wasn't SAPOL's idea to have a 3-year trial of e-scooters. It was the city councils. They were the ones who did it, so they do need to take responsibility.
Good on you, Steve. Thank you.
Thanks,
8223000. Carol's on the Automasters text line said when scooters are ridden on the footpath, they should have a speed governor set to walking pace. What is it's 15, is it 15 k's an hour or 10 k's an hour on them?
I'm not sure.
Or is it 10 in some locations and 15 in others?
The
Because I
weird
know it
thing
does
is,
change.
You think back to the cycling laws that were quite controversially changed about 5 or 6 years ago, and they brought in the rule that while you should generally ride on the road, they changed the laws to let cyclists ride on the footpath when they're unable to ride on the road. So you've got this weird situation where the law basically says to cyclists, look, you should try to stay on the roads. You should still try to stay on the road, stay in the bike lanes, and only use the footpaths when there's no alternative. Whereas the law as it currently stands instructs scooter drivers who are going at pretty much the same speed as cyclists in the city anyway, that they have to use the footpath.
Yes.
So where's the logic in that?
There is none. There's no shortage of biking infrastructure in the city at the moment to provide a safe space to do it. All right, let's hand it over to John Blake. He's off crook, unfortunately, this week. Get well soon, Blakey. Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
Welcome to Mastermind. Could we have our first contestant, please? Please state your name and occupation. Vladimir Putin, Ukraine. No, your occupation. Oh, sorry. Democratically elected corrupt tyrant. Your special subject, international relations, and your time starts now. If Donald Trump had still been president of the United States, would you have invaded Ukraine? Hell no, he's liable to drop nuclear bomb. He is madman. Correct. Biden thinks sanctions stop us. Yes, correct. What is the difference between Russia and the moon? One is lifeless, empty, barren landscape, and other is moon. Correct. Why have you chosen now to invade Ukraine? Because worldwide anti-Russian sentiment dormant far too long. Correct. If you had the opportunity, what would you say to President Joe Biden? Wake up! Correct. After Ukraine, what do you have your eye on? Western Australia. Correct. How can you define Russian troops being sent into eastern Ukraine as a peacekeeping mission? If no one defend themselves, peace. Correct. How would you describe Australia's economic sanctions against Russia? Mouse trying to trip elephant. Correct. And after round one, you have a perfect score. Join us again next time for Mastermind. Thank you, Mr. Putin. You think I handsome? Well, absolutely.
2 to 8, breaking at 8, coming up, and more from John Blake after 8:30.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Falcon Zeek ZE914 car tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for cost-saving, fuel efficiency and performance. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
If you want to build a new home,
Something that reflects you and your lifestyle? Then you really need to speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Tax return is done.
Tick.
Yep, refund on the way.
Tick.
What to do with it? Well, of course you could replenish your emergency fund, then replenish yourself and get that Puritap.
Love my Puritap. Now's the time to join Puritap's war on waste by reducing single-use plastics. You'll get great tasting filtered water that'll keep you replenished forever.
Head to the Puritap website now and check out the amazing prices. How good's this? A Puritap from only $49 up front. That is pure value.
So that's a designer tap, installation and filters for 2 years on a great payment plan.
Call Puritap on 133502 or go to puritap.com.au. Some T's and C's apply.
Hello, geeks to you?
Yes, hello?
I may have lost some photos.
Well, let's go find them.
Yes! Yes!
Tech problems? For remote or on-site help, go to geeks2u.com.au or 1300-GEEKS2U.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance brands. Book a test drive at solitairemaserati.com.au. DL 65541.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today. With the 8 o'clock news, I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. physioextra.com.
2 men will face court after a lengthy chase across Adelaide in a stolen car. Kendall Brettig reports.
Police were called to a house in Rectory Walk at Springfield last night after someone broke in and stole car keys belonging to a black BMW before driving away. Around an hour later, a patrol spotted the vehicle on South Road at Clovelly Park. It was followed through multiple suburbs for almost an hour and a half and spiked on multiple occasions. The vehicle was eventually abandoned on Goodwood Road at Millswood after losing a tyre. The 2 suspects ran off but were caught nearby. The driver, a 22-year-old man from Grange, has been charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass, illegal use of a motor vehicle, driving dangerous to escape pursuit and driving unlicensed. His 21-year-old passenger's been charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass, theft, carrying an offensive weapon and breach of bail. Neither applied for bail and will face the Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
A man has been arrested after he was caught drink driving at Elizabeth last night. A witness reported seeing his grey Mazda sedan driving erratically on the Phillip Highway. It also had a flat tyre. Police caught up with the driver at a petrol station where he was trying to fix the tyre. He became aggressive when police tried to conduct a breath test and was taken to the Elizabeth Police Station where he returned a positive test of .293. The 37-year-old Elizabeth Eastman is facing a range of charges and has lost his licence for 12 months. The Prime Minister will join his Pacific counterparts in Fiji today as part of the first face-to-face gathering in 3 years. Lucy Gray has more.
Climate change, regional security and the COVID recovery will be the key items up for discussion at the Pacific Islands Forum. Anthony Albanese is travelling to the Fijian capital Suva for the meeting. Australia has previously been criticised for its ambivalent attitude to the region, but our relationship is changing as China flexes its financial muscle in a number of island states. The Prime Minister says his focus will be improving cooperation within the region.
The Federal Treasurer says the reduction of the fuel excise will not be extended because of the associated cost. The excise was slashed from 44 cents a litre to 22 cents in March due to soaring costs at the Bowser. But the change will revert in September. Jim Chalmers says they can't afford to fund it indefinitely.
Just to give people a sense of the cost of it, for every 6 months it costs about $3 billion. So that's about, $500 million per month.
A US Capitol rioter says both extremists and ordinary Trump supporters were swept up in the madness on the day. A committee investigating the attack on the 6th of January has resumed hearings, focusing on former President Donald Trump's refusal to accept the election results. Stephen Ayres says he fell for the false claims.
I was hanging on every word he was saying. Everything he was putting out, I was following it. I mean, if I was doing it, hundreds of thousands or millions of other people are doing it, or maybe even still doing it.
Twitter has announced plans to sue Elon Musk to force the completion of his $44 billion takeover of the social media platform. His lawyers announced last week that the deal was off. And Tom Jones has been forced to cancel a concert in Budapest after collapsing an hour before his performance. The 82-year-old is currently on a world tour. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
What's happening at Alberton, Tom Wren?
Well, Port Adelaide coach Ken Hinckley-Mill, he faces some major selection issues ahead of Sunday's crucial clash against Melbourne in Alice Springs. Defender Riley Bonner is a chance to return after being cleared from a fractured cheekbone, while Scott Lysett got through last weekend's clash in the Sandful and could also play. Captain Tom Jonas telling Channel 9 it's a match against the Demons they cannot wait for.
We've probably got not a whole lot to lose because it's so life or death, so we've got to go out there and throw the kitchen sink at our opposition every single week.
Meantime, Lee Adams has taken over the reins as interim coach at North Melbourne after the club parted ways with outgoing coach David Noble. Well, Melbourne Victory's new recruit Nani says he'll be ready to take on his former club Manchester United at the MCG on Friday night. He's only just arrived in Victoria but says he's keen to play, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Speaking of Manchester United, they looked very impressive as they played a friendly overnight against Liverpool, winning 4-0 in a match in Thailand. It was only a friendly, but it was played in front of 50,000 fans. The State of Origin Series decider will be played at Suncorp Stadium tonight, with New South Wales heavy favourites to win despite playing away from home. That's because the Maroons have been ravaged by COVID, losing key players including Cam Munster. The Tour de France returned from a rest day overnight. Magnus Cort won the stage, which was interrupted by climate protesters. Aussie Nick Schultz was second. India has belted England by 10 wickets in the first one-dayer held at the Oval overnight. And there's been no competition on the opening day of the World Surf League event at Jeffreys Bay in South Africa. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
At Campbelltown, we've got a crash between a car and motorcycle. That's Lower North East Road at Gorge Road. A few delays there at the moment. Elizabeth, delays as well from a multi-car smash Main North Road at Elizabeth Way. Paddington, lights on the flash at Torrens Road near Addison Road. And South Brighton from an earlier burst water main speeds out of 40 k's. That's Brighton Road near the Foodland. Cameras at Adelphi Terrace, Glenelg North and Rope Terrace at North Adelaide. Shop using the Coles app for an easy and convenient experience. You can even use it to find products when you're shopping at your local store. Download the Coles app today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, partly cloudy, top of 15 today, partly cloudy tomorrow and 15, the same again on Friday, then Saturday showers and 16. Right now it's just around 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
7 minutes after 8, we have a stack of Pasta Deli vouchers to give away after 8:30 today. We're trying to find South Australians who have had the ill or good fortune maybe to have been born with the same name as someone famous. We're going to give you one away if you tell us your story after 8:30 today. Sometimes it can work out for you, other times it can just become a bit tedious, I reckon.
I think it'd be bad if you had a name that you were born with, you were christened with, and then it became notorious.
That would be really bad. There are other instances where you can't even get social media accounts because people assume, well, that's not real because that's the name of a fictional character.
I worked, not even that. I worked with a very nice and very good reporter for a long time called Anna Koch, and she had a very long battle with Facebook.
Yeah,
trying to get her Facebook page because they thought it was some sort of made up name.
That's rough, isn't it? That's really rough. We'll get into that after 8:30 today. We'll talk to you about this fascinating documentary that explores one such instance that's been plaguing people's lives. Before we do that, though, it's time for breaking out.
Well, the family of Adelaide grandmother Anna Pirani Jenkins have been hit with yet another setback. Now, this is a story that we have done a lot of work on here, as has the Advertiser. There's a piece today in the paper by Brad Crouch. He's been doing a lot of work on it too, reporting that the inquest into her death that resumed after the bungled original inquest has now been not necessarily shelved but delayed, because the judge who's hearing it in Malaysia is apparently being transferred to another state. Now, listeners will recall that Mrs. Jenkins was a 67-year-old Glenelg lady who vanished on December 13, 2017 during a visit to Penang with her husband Frank. She was en route to an aged care facility to visit her ailing mother in Georgetown when she disappeared. Her son Greg has made multiple trips since then back to Penang, trying to piece together his mother's final hours. He's made some harrowing discoveries himself, including finding physical remains of his mother, who it appears almost certainly was murdered, possibly robbed, and almost definitely you would have to say murdered. A couple of months ago, Greg Jenkins went over there on his most recent trip. And one other part of this story that's not yet clear is the investigating detective who's accused of bungling key parts of the investigation, including not even bothering to do an interview with the last bloke to see her alive, who was an Uber driver. Greg has lodged a police report in Malaysia against this retired policeman for making what he calls slanderous claims against his mother during the inquest that's now been delayed again. The retired policeman, Zali Hanapi, made some totally appalling comments about Anna Jenkins, who was a devoutly Christian woman. She carried a little wooden crucifix with her everywhere she went. She was so devout, and it's one of the personal effects belonging to her that Greg found at the scene where she met her fate, and it helped identify her. So what's the status of his complaint against this police officer for making all sorts of outrageous allegations, including the completely defamatory and baseless suggestion that this, older woman from Glenelg may have even been involved in drugs? It was just extraordinary. Frank Pangello has been doing a lot of work on this case, and I'm going to talk to Frank again today because more pressure needs to be brought to bear by the Australian High Commission over there in terms of getting to the bottom of this, because the Malaysians really now look like they are quite cynically just playing for time.
It's a fascinating story. Pacific Island Forum going on in Fiji this week. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese will be there. Foreign Minister Penny Wong too. It's a significant Australian contingent. Hasn't always been. In fact, it's sometimes this entire event, the meeting of all the leaders of Pacific Island nations, we've sort of treated as a bit of a sideshow. We go along and maybe show a bit of respect, but it hasn't been the main game. It's the main game now. Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris, is going to be doing a presentation at it this week too. And this has all it's been kicked into another realm because of China's sudden interest in the Pacific Islands. And some of those nations feel like they haven't been listened to by some of their bigger neighbours like us in recent years and have been amenable to overtures from China. So suddenly there's a massive focus on this forum this week and trying to win over these countries again and say their interests are best served in the Australian, US, Western sphere, not that controlled by China. Here's the Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, on Sunrise a short time ago.
When I was at the G20 last week, I did have the first meeting between foreign ministers of China and Australia in quite a few years. I said at the time, this is a first step. We've got a long path to walk, and both countries will have to choose to walk it. I think, and the Australian government thinks, it's in the interest of both nations for the relationship to be stabilised. And if both parties wish to do that, then there's a way forward. But I made the point to the Chinese minister privately, and I'll make it again publicly. The government of Australia has changed, but our national interests and our sovereign choices have not.
The United States getting heavily involved, and this to me feels like Big Brother's coming in to mop up our mess. It feels like they figure we've dropped the ball on this regionally.
Well, I don't know. Have they dropped the ball too, though?
Probably.
They haven't
But
been paying
this is
attention.
literally our neck of the woods.
Oh, and theirs too. I mean, they're as much a part of the Pacific as us.
Sure, but
I think that under Trump, they were very inward-looking. They weren't interested in. I mean, the idea that Donald Trump would go to a mega rally telling people the good news was that they were going to concentrate on policing in the Solomon Islands. All of his supporters go,
it wouldn't be good.
No,
but I reckon we deputise for them in this area, in this part of the world, and we haven't been good enough at it.
No. Well, we didn't make the case well enough, but. I mean, I actually think we should have been a bit more robust with the Solomon Islands because they are a hugely their government is hugely ungrateful. There's so many ADF people. We've probably got people listening to this show who served in the Solomon Islands on peacekeeping and civil order type operations. There's been dozens and dozens of them. I've got a friend who did it through DFAT, and the idea that they'd just go, yeah, well, thanks for all that, Australia. We're gonna see what Beijing can do for us. So there's a bit of that there too, but I think we should sort of not really get our hopes up too much about the chance of a reset with China, because that 4-point ultimatum they released the other day, it just shows that they do not get how countries like ours operate. Because one of the 4 things they want to reset the relationship is more respectful discussion around China. Well, sorry, it's a free country. I mean, it reminded me of the bloke the day I was out at the Chinese consulate in Joslin, and that jumped up little bloke from the consulate came out and said, have you got permission to be here talking to the locals? Like, mate, I'm standing on an Australian road. I don't need it. We're not in Beijing now, sunshine.
One of the 4 points, I thought a lot of them were totally reasonable. One of them, the language of it was something like, reject influence from foreign powers or some such. I mean, it might have just written, stop listening to the United States, which is just not going to happen. It's a silly non-negotiable. It's a total non-negotiable, but it was all quite silly. I bet life doesn't feel silly if you're currently on the Coral Princess, the cruise ship. It's currently docked in Sydney. Here's Tom Hartley from Channel 7.
Biggest difference between back then, the Ruby Princess, and now is that when it docks here, it's not going to be a hot mess like it was back in March 2020. There are so many strict protocols in place, so much so that authorities are feeling pretty confident that they will be able to contain this outbreak to the ship.
118 people have got it on board. Almost all of them are members of the crew. We've spoken to some people who are on board, and all of the activities largely are still going ahead, except everybody has to wear masks. But there's been some consternation among some of the passengers that they've still got the buffet going, and everyone's walking around with their tongs and picking up food. My mother-in-law is actually scheduled to go on the cruise in September.
How's she feeling about
it? Philosophical. Rosie likes having a good time, so she's not gonna panic. But I think there'd be plenty of other people who are booked. I think the thing is there's a lack of clarity around it because, like in her case, she's saying, "Well, we haven't actually heard anything yet as to what the rules are going to be when we're on board." And
the company probably doesn't know yet.
No, well, it's a bit of a precursor for what could happen more broadly in the community, because these things, and the Ruby Princess was the worst and first case way back in 2020, but it gives you a bit of a sneak preview of how these things might play out in the broader community, because cruise ships are like society writ small. It's like this little, floating case study of how communities behave.
We are wishing Tom Jones all the best this morning.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone.
Sir Tom Jones, I should say.
It's not unusual to have fun with anyone.
He was set to host a concert in Budapest, but collapsed minutes before he was set to take the stage. He's 82 years of age. He was not feeling great about an hour out from the concert in Hungary, then did collapse. Medicos came to him. Not much is known about his condition, except to say he's recovering and he's getting better. The concert, in fact, it's an interesting one. It was a reschedule of an earlier date and a different place. He was meant to be playing in Kyiv, in Ukraine. Gives you a sign of how quickly things change. They shifted that, given obviously the situation going on there, to Budapest in Hungary. It's a massive tour for someone who's 82 years of age. He's obviously a pretty fit guy, and keeps very active. But 50 dates through Europe and the United States, Germany, Croatia, Italy,
50.
Luxembourg, Norway and Belgium over the coming weeks. Weeks, not 12 months.
Yeah.
Weeks.
That's staggering.
That's a
isn't
hell
it?
of a workload.
I would have loved to have seen him in concert. Wonder if any of our listeners have seen Tom Jones. Give us a ring if you have.
They would absolutely would have. I bet a lot of our listeners remember this from 1985. That's Freddie Mercury, of course, with Queen at Live Aid. Legendary performance, legendary concert, happened on this day 37 years ago.
Geez, that makes you feel old, doesn't it? I can remember exactly where I was. We had a sleepover at my mate Mike Bridges' house in Millswood. A whole bunch of us from Marion High. We were doing Year 12, and for a lot of people in their 50s like me, that was the defining cultural moment of the 80s. Huge, wasn't it? Just massive.
Absolutely. All right, let's check traffic. There's still time to join Samry's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samrybright.org.au.
At Campbelltown, there's a car and motorcycle crash. Lower North East Road at Gorge Road, delays there. Pennington lights on the flash, Torrens Road near Addison Road, and South Brighton from an earlier burst water main speeds down to 40 k's Brighton Road near the Foodland. Busy South Road at Karata Park with a camera, Fitzroy Terrace, North Adelaide. This week, get Hungry Jack's new Jack's Cafes barista coffee for just $2 or iced drinks for only $3. Hurry, this app only offer ends soon at participating Hungry Jacks. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Roey's Sports Show.
North, they've moved on their coach, David Noble. It's always a sad time. Joining us, former North great. He certainly was that. Two-time Kangaroos premiership player, Corey McKernan. Corey, welcome.
Yeah, it's back to the drawing board for the Kangaroos once again.
Must be sad to see your great club in the state it's in.
We've made some pretty poor decisions over the last few years. Let's learn from our mistakes.
4 p.m. weekdays.
He didn't exactly inherit the best list and best footy department.
Roey's Sports Show on 5AA.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Jason Clark from Simons Clark Logistics talks about One Solution and how they streamlined his business.
We were lacking an integrated approach to our IT. We needed support and to future-proof our business. Security was also a concern for us. One Solution assessed and designed a new reliable, failure-safe solution for our business. Combined with the local help desk, IT support at Simons Clark is now in a great position for the future.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Here's why. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide today for a better future for all of us.
The Adelaide Central Market is open and it's not going anywhere. You might notice some changes as the exciting new market expansion gets underway. But don't worry, your favourite traders, your weekly fruit and veg, your fresh seafood and morning coffees aren't going anywhere. It might be expanding, but the market you know and love is open throughout all stages of construction with easy undercover parking. Shop at the Adelaide Central Market, trading as always Tuesday to Saturday.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
23 after 8, we spoke out of the 7 o'clock news at some length regarding the federal government's decision to end the subsidy on rapid antigen tests. The situation has been, since January this year, seniors, disabled people, others with concession cards have been able to get up to 10 rats every 3 months. That'll end at the end of this month. So in 18 days, that ends. We've heard from Health Minister Mark Butler, who said, we'll stock up. There's plenty of rats out there. There's plenty out there that people have been hoarding. I've heard from a lot of our listeners who are pensioners have said, well, that's great if you know someone who has, or you have been, but what if you haven't? What if you've been trying to do the right thing, and now you're suddenly getting slugged $8 a pop? Ian Yates is the CEO of the Council on the Ageing and joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Ian, how concerned are you about this decision?
Well, we are concerned, and we've talked to the Minister's office about it. Acknowledging that the program as set up originally was to stop on the 31st of July, we would have made the same approaches to the previous government. Given that we've got the winter surge happening, and that will pick up demand, given that we have a huge cost of living hit at the moment, particularly in basics, and that affects pensioners and low-income earners particularly. And I think given that the majority of people have not been stockpiling rats, which do have expiry dates, quite short expiry dates, and if you're living on a pension, then you don't go stocking up on things that you might not need. And combined with the fact that as the government has welcomely done, is to increase the availability of the antivirals. It's key to the effectiveness of an antiviral medication that that be administered in the first few days of catching the COVID. And, getting a rat is a part of detecting that whether you or not you have got it. And so we would have argued that it should have been extended through the winter period and then reassessed and maybe made available at a subsidised price rather than free. But certainly, at the moment, it's something that we regret that they're not extending the previous government's timeframe.
In terms of the cost of living, Ian, on the upside, I guess, although it depends because it's all relative. But what's CODA's assessment of the pension increases that are scheduled to come through?
Oh, look, the pension is robustly indexed by the higher of the CPI or the low-income CPI or a wage index, and the wages are not going. So it will certainly be a record for a long time, the next increase, because of where things are going. But look, this is retrospective.
Yeah.
This
so you're playing catch-up, aren't you?
You're playing catch-up all the time. All I'm arguing is that it's unfortunate in this environment, both the COVID environment and the cost of living environment, to put any kind of question mark in front of a pensioner about whether they can afford to buy a rat.
Yeah, and particularly when you hear the minister say, oh, well, they were $24, now they're only $8 each. Well, $8 is a lot of money for someone who's getting by on the basic pension rate of $900 a fortnight. So,
and particularly if you're suggesting that they go out and buy up a stock of them.
Yeah.
As I said, people don't do that, and they have relatively short use-by dates.
Yeah, exactly.
CEO of the Council of the Ageing, Ian Yates, really appreciate your time on this morning. Ian made a point right at the start of that chat too about the federal government saying, and this is something Mark Butler said in interviews, well, this is just the former government's deal. It was always going to expire at this time. But I just want to take you back. This started January. In January, you've been able to get these subsidies. Let's talk about what the world was like in January. There's no war in Ukraine in January. All the projections about where we're at COVID-wise as of July were that it'd be barely noticeable in the community. There'd be a couple of hundred cases here or there. It's a different world, and we have a different government, and I think it's a total cop-out to say, well, that's just the old deal.
Back then you could buy petrol for $1.60 a litre and a lettuce would cost you $5.
Yeah, different world. 27 after 8, 5AA News is coming up. There's a great documentary coming out. What's life like for you if you were born with the name James Bond? We're going to play you a snippet of it after 8:30. I love this concept. And we're going to ask you then for a Pasta Deli voucher to tell us, do you have the name that's the same as someone who is well-known or famous? And what's that meant for you? Let us know. 8223 0000 is the number. Text us on the Automasters text line, 0480 08 1395. That's ahead.
Hi, honey.
Hey, Mum. I'm just waiting at the emergency department.
Are you okay? What happened?
I twisted my ankle at training.
And you're at the ED?
Where else would I go?
Try icing it, love. Or I could take you to the GP or a pharmacy.
It's gone all over you. Let me wipe it up.
All good. Yeah. Mum, come and get me.
Is it really an emergency? Before visiting an emergency department or calling 000, call Health Direct on 1800 022 222 to find the best healthcare option for you. A message from the Government of South Australia.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. When you buy a Leader computer, you're buying a computer made right here in Adelaide. You're dealing with people that live in Adelaide, and when it comes to servicing or support, it all happens here in Adelaide. Not overseas, not interstate. Unlike some others, Leader don't have to send anything off for repair. They take care of everything right here. It makes sense to live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au. 20 years ago, Toyota set the standard for hybrid vehicles with the iconic Prius. Today, they're still leading the way with their Toyota hybrid technology for a cleaner, greener future for all Australians. Jarvis Toyota is Adelaide's home of hybrid. They can get you behind the wheel of your own small, medium or large sedan or SUV with best-in-class fuel economy. Work towards a better future together with Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, Adelaide's home of hybrid.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
How special it is to think that right now we are revolving around a golden sun, perpetually spinning on the same rock as a stylish front-load washing machine for only $499. With roomy 10-kilo capacity and 16 wash programs including My Cycle memory function, it's special. You can buy only at Aldi Special Buys Laundry Sale this Saturday while stocks last at Aldi. Good, different.
Are you warm enough this winter? Getting the best out of your gas heater? Give Ken a call. It's recommended your gas heater is serviced every year. It's part of running a safe and warm home. Give Ken a call. Ken Hall Plumbers, 8364 5855.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 15 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A car stolen from Springfield has been tracked for 90 minutes by police. The BMW was taken following a robbery on Rectory Walk around 11:30 last night. Sergeant Peter Williams says they spotted the car at Clovelly Park and then it clocked up the case.
Patrols kept observations of the vehicle until Polly was able to move in overhead and track it. The vehicle travelled through multiple metropolitan suburbs across the 4 policing districts for almost an hour and a half, with patrols spiking up on multiple occasions before it was finally abandoned by its driver and passenger on Goodwood Road at Millswood.
2 people were arrested nearby. The 22-year-old driver and 21-year-old passenger are facing numerous charges and will front court today. A new COVID pop-up vaccination clinic has opened in the West Parklands this morning. The clinic will offer the FIVEaa vaccine. No bookings are required. The Prime Minister will take part in the first face-to-face Pacific Islands Forum meeting in 3 years. Anthony Albanese is travelling to Fiji for the conference, where climate change issues and dealing with COVID-19 will be top of the agenda, along with regional security. Mr Albanese says he's there to listen and learn about the concerns facing Pacific leaders. The country's cost of living crisis has hit Bunnings' sausage sizzles. Mia Glover has the story.
For the first time in 15 years, the price of a sausage and bread will rise by $1 from $2.50 to $3.50 at more than 300 Bunnings stores nationwide. The price hike will kick in on July 23. All funds raised go towards community groups. But the main reason for this is those same community groups say they've been seeing a decline in sales, so have asked for that price rise. The good news is the price of drinks, your canned lemonade and Coke, won't go up. They'll stay at $1.50.
NASA has unveiled more images taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. The photos show galaxies, a dying star, planets and nebulae. Operations Project scientist Jane Rigby says the speed the telescope works at is a game changer.
The previous record holder, right, the Hubble Extreme Deep Field, was 2 weeks of continuous work with Hubble, and it was just imaging. With Webb, we took that image before breakfast. The amazing thing about Webb is the speed at which we can churn out discoveries.
The nominations for the 44th Annual Emmy Awards are out. Stranger Things, Better Call Saul, Severance, Squid Game and Ozark are in the running for Best Drama Series. South Australian Sarah Snook is up for Best Supporting Actress for Succession. Only Murders in the Building and Pam and Tommy have picked up multiple nods. The Emmys will be held in LA in September. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy. Any AFL club that sets up in the Northern Territory would need to secure funding from non-traditional sources. That's according to former Melbourne CEO Peter Jackson, who's been brought in to offer some advice about getting another team in the top end. He says it will come down to whether there's enough community benefit, and it's too early to say either way.
You can't possibly put a club up there through traditional commercial front model. So if it's going to work in any form, it's got to work because people can see the benefits to the community up there. You know, that means you've got to get more non-traditional type funding for that. So we've got a bit of work to do yet.
Port Adelaide will take on Melbourne in Alice Springs on Sunday. To soccer, Manchester United has enjoyed a comfortable 4-0 friendly win against Liverpool in Thailand overnight. The Red Devils all but securing the win before half-time after taking a 3-0 lead.
And here's Martial, buried down upon goal, Nancy Martial scores another goal here.
Audio there thanks to Fox. Briefly elsewhere, Australian Nick Schultz has missed out on a stage win by just a matter of centimetres in the Tour de France, finishing second to Magnus Cort in stage 10. And in some basketball, the Boomers have opened their Asia Cup campaign with a victory over Jordan, 78-60. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
At Campbelltown, car and motorcycle crash and Lower North East Road at Gorge Road, delays there. South Brighton from an Elliotburst Watermain speeds out of 40 k's. That's Brighton Road near the Foodland. In the Parklands, Arundel Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. And we're busy right now, South Road at Karata Park. Cameras, Anzac Highway, Glenelg East and North Streets at Henley Beach. Xero connects with the things you need for small business, like your bank, apps and even your accountant. Try Xero free for 30 days. Visit xero.com. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, 15 for your Wednesday and partly cloudy tomorrow 15 and Friday, and then showers 16 on Saturday. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
23 minutes to 9. If you've got the same name as someone famous, you've got the chance to win a Pasta Deli voucher just by calling in right now and telling us what it is. 8223 0000 is the number. Before we get to that, I wanted to wrap up our conversation about rapid antigen tests no longer being subsidised. Well, as of July 31, it means they'll cost somewhere around $8 a pop. Karen in Brighton's called in. Morning to you, Karen.
Morning. Just wanted to put a different perspective onto the rat test. My mum is in a nursing home, so I'm required to do a rat test and show the negative result every time I go and visit it. So I'm also can receive the free, the 10 free, which has been great for me. But you know, that's going to limit the times that I can go and see her if I'm having to do this. Although at the moment I've just had COVID, so I've got a 12-week reprieve, so I don't have to do a rat test for 12 weeks to go into the nursing home. But yeah, but people who are in my situation, like not just siblings, but children, but husbands and wives who go and see their loved ones daily, it's a big impact for them.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's an absolutely fantastic
We've actually
point,
had a lot
Karen.
of texts along those lines as well from other people saying that they have to have the rats in order to see their loved ones.
That's not an optional choice. That's not because you're feeling like you've got a scratchy throat. You get to see someone who is a beloved member of your family, and suddenly you got to say, "Oh, hang on, can I afford to do it?" That's not right.
One text here from Scott puts it in the broader economic perspective. He says, "Oh my, we're definitely not ready as a nation to face the reality of starting to pay off $1 trillion debt, are we?" That's true from an economic perspective, I think.
Yeah,
but
look, Scott,
not when you put it in the context of wanting to see your elderly mother down at the local aged care facility.
You know, I'm fairly economically dry, Scott. So you're pulling at my heartstrings. But what I would say, it wasn't after the battle of
your heartstrings.
Yeah,
your heartlessness strings.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But you know what? Following the Battle of Midway in 1942, that wasn't the time to have a conversation around, well, the war in the Pacific's going okay now. Should we just... Are we ready to have a conversation about paying back all this debt?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, there's a time and a place, and we're not there yet.
No.
We thought we were going to be, but we just aren't. And that's why we're having these conversations. Now, there's this new documentary that I just think this is absolutely fantastic. Regarding people who were born with the name James Bond. It's called The Other Fellow. It followed the release of the Bond film Skyfall, covering the lives of 10 men in different parts of the world who share the name James Bond.
My name is James Bond, and my age is 8.
When a film comes out, everyone who has seen it has this cultural connection they want to share with me. They come up and they make comments, and I have no clue what they're talking about.
They'd say, here's the James Bond before there ever was a James Bond.
So it speaks to these guys who just have to deal with this. Suddenly the film comes out every single time. Oh, yeah, and the James Bond jokes start up again. There's someone who is covered in the documentary too. They're trying to get a Facebook account, and they can't because it won't allow them because everyone in the world tries to create James Bond. A host of things like that. It's a fascinating concept. We can do our own version of it right here and now, though, and we've got 5 Pasta Deli vouchers to give away. We love Pasta Deli. They're fantastic. It's a $100 voucher, so it goes a hell of a long way, thanks to Frank and the wonderful team there, creating truly authentic Italian meals for you to take home to your family. If you have got the same name as someone famous, give us a call right now. The first 5 callers will get a Pasta Deli voucher. Jackie's on the line. Morning, Jackie.
Hi, how are you?
We're good, thanks, Jackie. You're not Jackie Onassis, are you?
Yes, Jackie Kennedy.
Your name's Jackie Kennedy?
Yes.
Can I ask you, Jackie, are you currently wearing a Hermes scarf?
I've just been for a 6K walk on the beach. I probably should.
So what's it like being called Jackie Kennedy?
Probably the older people usually will say something. Younger people sort of a bit out of there, but yeah, lots of comments over lots of years.
So was it? Well, obviously, it was a bigger thing when you were younger, Jackie. I'm guessing.
Yeah, she was older than me, but yeah, definitely. And my brother's name is Paul Walker.
Is that right? The
Yes.
Fast and the Furious star.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you're a famous
in the family.
Siblings.
Famous family, but famous for nothing. Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie Kennedy. Let's go to Osborne. Jackie's got a Pasta Deli voucher coming her way, by the way. Let's go to Osborne. Bob, good morning.
Morning. My name is Robert Corbett. You know the actor that was in those Leslie Nielsen films?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. And look, you know David's the biggest Leslie Nielsen fan in the world.
Yeah. But I can't sing like him, though.
Thank you, Bob. Let's go to Mitcham. Warwick, good morning.
Yeah, my name's Warwick, but of course, you know, playing footy and all that, it was always Kappa!
You got the shorts, mate?
Oh, no. Well, back in the day when I was playing, and yeah, we did have tight shorts, but I can't say my leap was quite as high because, let's face it, on a bracing, cold Mount Gambier morning, I'm kicking the dew off to the A grade. I was only getting about 4.5 inches off the ground. But
What about the haircut, mate? What were you sporting?
No, I'm actually the complete opposite. skinhead brown hair. So
Yeah, okay. You're a reverse Warwick Kappa.
I was quite the reverse. It was quite a miracle. Quite a miracle I even took a mark half the time, so I think that's why they said Kappa.
The ironic
That's
nickname.
terrific.
Thank you, Warwick. Jackie, good morning.
Hello, actually it's Jacqueline Smith, the famous Charlie Angel.
Oh,
Kelly.
my favourite of the three.
Wow.
Jacqueline Smith.
Yeah, not quite as famous as Farah, but, you know.
Oh, no, I think Jacqueline Smith was the pick of the three. Although there were four, weren't there? Because one of them changed, I think. Was Cheryl
Yeah.
Ladd one of them?
I think she was an original and Farah replaced her, yeah.
So
the
how-
only action I see, though, is running for the bus, so...
So how often in your life have you Charlie's Angels reference been made to you, Jackie?
Well, once again, it's usually when calling for ITC service, and anybody over 50 will make a note of it, but anybody else doesn't really get it. So.
Good morning, Angels.
Thank you, Jackie. Tyson in Clarence Gardens, good morning.
Morning, boys. I'm a Wessels. We've only got my family in Adelaide, and growing up, everyone used to ask me if I was related to Kepler.
Yeah, of course.
And it got very annoying, and I just said, yeah, he's my uncle. He's my uncle.
Century on debut from memory.
I looked at it, I've got no idea. I don't even know
Is
who
your
he is.
uncle,
I just
Tyson?
knew he was the captain. Yeah,
He was
well,
South African. He came to Australia.
Yeah.
So
my family's Dutch, so...
Kepler.
Yeah, okay, so you're not even South African. Well, that's a bit rough, isn't it? Thank you for that, Tyson.
I like
$100
this,
past early vouchers going to those 5 listeners.
I like this text on the Automasters text line from Peter in Peterhead. My best friend at school was Michael Jackson, and he got sick of people asking him to do the moonwalk. That would be
That's
bad
unfortunate,
time
isn't
to
it?
be called Michael Jackson in the well, probably better to be called Michael Jackson in the 70s than in the 2000s.
Yeah, in the 80s it would have just been a little bit annoying.
Yeah.
Now you just cringe.
Now it's a real cross to bear.
No, that's no good. Fascinating concept for a documentary, and I'm sure one that the lessons of which everyone listening will be able to, everyone who's participated in this competition will be able to relate to. Pasta Deli, we love them. Frank and the team, their food there is wonderful. And a $100 voucher will go a hell of a long way, because in these times where ingredients and everything are going through the roof, I can tell you, you'll get value for money at Pasta Deli, creating truly authentic Italian meals for you to take home to your family.
Hey, just quickly, in relation to Breaking at 8, I've just heard from Frank Pangello's office. Greg Jenkins has been contacted only in the last 20 minutes by the Department of Foreign Affairs, advising him that they've just been told that the inquest into Anna Jenkins' death is now back on Monday. Now, there's a pretty strong suspicion that this is a total tactic by the Malaysian government to stuff around the Jenkins family and to prevent them from actually being there in Malaysia for the inquest, because Greg was going to be there. He was there last time when it was put off, and Frank Pangello himself was going to go up as well to support Greg. So now there's a mad scramble underway to see if they can get back in time, but they couldn't have been stuffed around anymore by the Malaysian authorities if they tried.
Yeah, that's hopeless. 14 to 9, Behind Closed Doors is coming up in just a moment. First, let's check traffic. There's still time. Join Samri's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samribright.org.au.
At Campbelltown, there's a car and motorcycle crash on Lower North East Road at Gorge Road. Delays there. South Brighton, from an LA burst water main, speeds out of 40 k's. That's Brighton Road near the Foodland. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettle Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. Busy at the moment, St Donald Brabham Drive at Marion Road. And we've got a camera at West Beach Road at West Beach. Shopping around for the latest 5G phone at Optus, you can get the best price guaranteed. Visit Optus in-store or check out the Optus 5G phone price match online today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
Mini Jumbuck, now in McLaren Vale, make Australia's favourite wool bedding products, proudly made right here in South Australia. Mini Jumbuck uses the finest Australian wool to handcraft their quilts, mattress toppers, pillows and more.
Sleeping with wool allows your body to adjust to its ideal temperature, so you'll sleep more peacefully and wake refreshed. If you're looking to improve your quality of sleep, start with a visit to Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale today, open 7 days. Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, Australian made, Australian owned.
Go, cat, go. The king of rock and roll is in the building at Reading Cinemas. Well, on the screen at least. Elvis, the musical spectacular of the legendary singer's rise to fame. Directed by Baz Luhrmann, the trailblazer of on-screen epics. Austin Butler takes centre screen as Elvis. The resemblance is uncanny. And boy, can this kid dance. See Elvis at Reading Cinemas, Elizabeth and Westlakes. Get your tickets now at readingcinemas.com.au.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance brands. Book a test drive at solitairemaserati.com.au. DL 65541.
Got $1 a week? At The Advertiser, we're for giving you great value. Get digital access to our news, including sports and entertainment, for just $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Min costs $4. Conditions apply. Search The Advertiser offer today.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
11 to 9. Behind closed doors coming up in just a moment. Fuel Watch first. See where the cheapest fuel is in an instant with the free FIVEaa app. Download it today. Most outlets are in the mid $80s. You can get it a little bit cheaper than that, and I think it's the first time we've seen a 7 in quite a while. The BP on the run, Kingston Road, Erindale, $74.9. The Ampol, Lower North East Road, Campbelltown, $74.9. The BP on the run, David Terrace, Woodville Park, $79.9. The cheapest diesel, United Main North Road, Paraka, $2.16.5.
That's the cheapest diesel.
That's the cheapest diesel.
Jeez, diesel.
Good explanation.
Used to be a way to save money.
We had a good explanation on the text line the other day from someone who said that the reason that diesel's lagging the reduction in the unleaded price at the moment by so much is because the contracts are longer term. So
yeah, right.
They'll take longer to come down and then longer to go up. So they theoretically would like to see some movement on that front fairly soon. Cheryl's called into the program. Morning to you, Cheryl.
Morning, how are you?
Good, very well.
Cheryl.
Yeah, look, just in response, you had a caller call in earlier talking about when she visits her mum in aged care home and she has to pay for the rats. Well, I've got a mum and a mother-in-law, both in aged care, different homes, and they provide them. You cannot go in without doing one, but they provide them. They provide masks. They've just reduced having to wear face protection, but never a problem. There's boxes of rat tests there that they give you. Free, do it. You have to prove you're negative, and then you go, not a problem. Well, it doesn't cost me a cent.
That's very, very good of that aged care provider to do that.
Fantastic service.
It's two different providers. So look, two different homes, totally run by different companies, but they both provide them all. Not a problem. Never a question. Never asking for payment.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear.
Good on you, Cheryl.
Thanks,
Thank
Cheryl.
you for that. That's great information. Maybe more should do this in light of
if they can.
In light of what's going on. All right, let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing, and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
1395. Adelaide's 5AA. This is Andrew Brymer.
And yes, it's me, Andrew Brymer, with you on Interactive Radio 30.5, Adelaide's 5AA, and it's good to be back. And a big thank you to David Bruce for sitting in. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much for that, David. You can ring or SMS me. We've got an SMS already from Reg. He says, bloody beauty, happy to hear you back, Andrew. Far more interesting and better to hear your voice and interaction with your listeners. Thanks, Reg. That's very kind of you to say those nice things about me. You can ring me on 8223 000 or SMS me on 044808395. You're with me, Andrew Reimer, right through until 1 o'clock tomorrow morning, and my producer is Gina. Very important that you know that as well. Quentin has emailed in on onair@5AA.com.au. And he says, "Hello, Andrew. Love your program and great to have you back." Thank you very much for that, Quentin. I really do appreciate that as well. "I live in Queenstown and Labor have won the last 50 elections. I might as well be living in Russia or China." Yeah, good on you there, Quentin. It's very true, isn't it, as well, that they're very adamant about their support for the Labor Party down there, which is a little disappointing in some ways. It really is, because don't forget, it was Stephen Marshall and the Liberals who gave a state funeral to Russell Ebert.
7 minutes to 9. We've got an interesting text on the Automasters text line. Someone said the barrel price of oil today is $93. I just had a look at that. Right now, West Texas crude, so I just picked one of the big markers, is at $95.21. That's interesting because if you go, but the last time it was about around that price. Well, in fact, let's go back further. Putin invaded Ukraine on the 24th of February this year. The price on that day was $92.81. So almost back at the price that it was before the war. It got up to, on the 10th of March, or in fact the 8th of March, $123 a barrel. And that's what we've been sort of playing for ever since. It's been well over 100, 110, 115, that sort of range. Coming back down now to the price we saw beforehand is good. That said, the really good price we were getting was December last year, towards the end of last year, when it was down around $65 a barrel. So that gives you some sort of sense of the volatility of it. It was going up significantly even before the war. That just kicked it into another stratosphere. But we're back now below what it was before that started. So hopefully we'll start to see things correct. Remembering, of course, too, the fuel excise is still off. So the numbers you're seeing, $1.75 being cheap, it's still, in reality, $1.96.
Exactly. Hey, Scott's followed up his own thought-provoking text about the size of the deficit post-COVID. I like this, Scott. We'll read it out, mate. He says, as a follow-up then, I do empathise with everybody, but we have all got pressures at the moment. I've got childcare for kids that will still be paying off the debt when they turn 18, home loans, nappies all going up, full-price rat tests to buy to visit grandparents. The point I'm making is that everybody's going to have to chip in at some point. That is
absolutely
true.
right.
That is true.
Can't argue that point. Absolutely right. Some terrific text today on the Automasters text line, 0480 1395, across a whole range of subjects as well.
Good one here from John. Not a famous name, but a very comical one. My Greek mate hasn't got a famous name like a celebrity, but he's more of a building material. His name is Concrete. His full name is Constantine Crete.
Oh, no.
Concrete. That is excellent.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Does he have a nickname as a result of that? Maybe. I
think he's
Rocky.
He's got a built-in nickname.
He doesn't need one, does he?
No, I wouldn't have thought. Dennis from Renmark says he always gets Dennis the Menace. Yeah, that you just once your name appears in the title of a film, you're stuffed for life, I think.
Yeah. What about Michael Packy yesterday coming in straight off the back of us talking about pachyderms? That was fun.
He was known as the pachyderm.
The pachyderm.
You'll never think of Michael Packy the same way ever again now as a result of that. It must get annoying at some point because unfortunately you fall into that realm where everyone who makes a joke then identifying what your name, your kin name, feels like they're doing it for the first time.
Oh yeah,
it's the first time they've made the joke. It's not the first time you've heard the joke.
I remember going to the Commercial Hotel years ago on a road trip with some mates, and we stopped in Conniva, and we went into one of the, I think it was called either the Commercial Hotel or the Royal Hotel, as they always are in country towns in Australia. And I went up to the barmaid and said, "Can I have a beer?" And she just looked at me and she goes, "You got no idea how many times I've heard that dumb joke." She wasn't a happy lady. Ville Palm. They called it Ville Palm. At that pub, I said, "Can I get a palmy?" She goes, "A what?" I said, "A palmy." She goes, "A what?" Because they say Palmer in Victoria, but in this pub she said Ville Palm.
Well, they've sort of halved the difference, have they been?
You mean a palm? Yes, okay, I'll have a palm.
Their own language in Conniva, have they? James and Jeps Cross has called in. Morning to you, James.
G'day. My name is Bourne, James Bourne. When I say my name Bourne, I said no relation to Jason.
Yeah, the Bourne identity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Bourne identity, all that sort of thing.
Thank you, James.
Excellent, James.
James Bourne.
James Bourne.
That's at least James sounds like predated most people's mainstream knowledge of Jason Bourne.
Yeah. Are there any other Will Goodings that you've come across?
My grandfather was William Goodings.
Were you named after him?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but he went by the name Bill his whole life.
You know, in Cornwall, there's a gun rugby player called David Penberthy.
Really? Spelt the same way?
Yeah, exactly the same.
That's pretty good.
Because it's a really pretty common name in Cornwall, not in South Australia.
We were on a holiday recently, and my wife had made the booking where we were staying, and she said her name, and they said, yeah, but which one? And her name's not a very common last name. She went, well, the one that made the booking. And they said, no, there's two of you on this thing. Never knew anyone else in Australia had the same name as her, and we were staying at the same hotel at the same time.
You're kidding?
Yeah, it was really weird. Mark in Summertown, good morning.
How you doing? Yeah, well, I'm actually Mark Mitchell, so I used to get Con the Fruiter and stuff asleep. And my dad, Mitchell, who was the Maverick in Top Gun, but my brother, Paul Mitchell, who's got the hair care products, was at a public gathering once when someone came up and said, every time I have a shower, I think of you.
Mark Mitchell.
That's terrific. All right, well, we are pretty much out of time then on this Wednesday morning. The sun is up and beaming into the city, and hopefully it brings a little bit of warmth with it because it was a cool start to the day. It's not got a whole lot in it, but there should be a little bit of nicer weather on the way. Leon Biner is on the way as well, and we will catch you tomorrow morning from 6 on 5AA Breakfast.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen.